I have the feeling that tornado has more or less fallen apart at this point, but nonetheless, at this point, if you're in Sandy Creek or Northwest, we can't say it for sure. And over to Delco, you want to stay in your safe spot, safest spot you have anyway for the high winds along the coast now. That's actually starting to lift up toward Wilmington, along 74, going westward toward Lake Waccamaw and Whiteville. So we will be seeing some high winds from the eye wall moving in before too much longer too.
Yeah, and if I've got a product called Normalized Rotation. This is something that is part of one of the radar packages that we love, Gibson Ridge Analyst, and it just updated on me, and it looks like and it looks like we have maybe some very like, this is probably noise. If I had to guess, these small areas of rotation are probably noise. We'll back up a little bit, or we won't back up a little bit. We'll have to close this out. Let me get back to that machine if it will let me do so. Earlier, when we had the rotation showing up through Leland, you had a little brighter green, but then now it's kind of it's not really showing me much anymore. So with any luck, we are going to hopefully see this this warning drop soon. Let me close that out. Let me switch this back to, I'm going to go to double panel here, if it'll let me. And we'll do 2 panels, and we'll do, actually, I'm going to do...
And Jared, while you're doing that, I just want to let everyone know who might be rejoining our stream now at 10:16 p.m. Eastern Time, as we did a little bit of an internet reconnection there, and the stream is now rebroadcasting. We are looking right now, Oak Island, North Carolina, in the bottom right, where the eye wall is approaching shore here. The storm has not yet made landfall, but we're watching that imminent landfall here in the next hour or so, as well as a tornado warning up in the Wilmington area. And that, Jared, I think is what used to help up there on your radar there on the left side of the screen.
Yeah, and again, I think if there's one small bit of good news, is that they may be able to get this canceled. I know that there was a report of looks like there was a report of a tornado near Phoenix, and then but we're trying to follow up. They're not getting much on that. So again, not really seeing much on radar here, and that is good. I think that I'm going to let the experts at the Weather Service determine whether that's good or not. We're not going to make any assumptions, but hopefully we'll be able to get that all clear to you in a few minutes. Because again, looking at the velocity products, looking at the reflectivity products, it's really unlikely now that we're seeing anything rotating. But what we are seeing, strong straight line winds. And again, these squalls in these outer bands are going to pull down 50, 60 mile an hour winds pretty easily and straightforwardly. And so just because as we like to say, just because it's not spinning doesn't mean it can't do damage. You certainly can still get plenty of straight line wind damage from these. And of course, we can't forget, we have this eye wall that is beginning to come ashore to the south, around between Southport and North Myrtle Beach. Still is a very, very dangerous situation evolving towards there. And we'll sample some of the velocity data again here. And again, we're still seeing 100 mile an hour inbounds, just about 780 feet up. So definitely a concern there as that eye wall continues to punch up. So,
and Jared, it's probably as good of a time as any to remind folks what the definition of a landfall is. It's not right when that outer eye wall hits, right, guys? It's halfway through the actual center of circulation.
That's right.
Okay, so when we see it on radar here in the next little bit, they actually cross the first barrier island. That's not landfall. We got to wait for the center of that circle. And the barrier island
Correct.
counts, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And James, it's to mention what our folks are saying there is that's the Oak Island Pier. We had it up just a minute ago, and that's the just the crazy wind. I mean, obviously, we hope no one's out there on the beach right now, but that's about as close as you can get. And I'm really surprised we're keeping connectivity to this camera with those winds right there, and that's just crazy to see. I will say we had a 50-mile-per-hour wind gust at the North Myrtle Beach Airport as of 10:01 p.m. So that says the circulation is passing by there. So these winds really now focusing in on the southeast coast of North Carolina, Carolina Shores, Holden Beach, Sunset Beach, Ocean Isle, Oak Island over towards Caswell, Southport, Bald Head Island. So that area right now looks like to be where landfall happens here. I would say in the next probably hour or so, maybe 90 minutes at the longest.
And the other thing I want to remind folks of is what is being left behind in the wake of this. And we hear pictures here on Twitter from Jason Hoke, who shows us that South Ocean Boulevard near Family Kingdom is underwater. We have probably a good 6 inches to a foot of storm surge here that's come ashore in this very touristy and very popular area. And this is what we're seeing all along the coast, not just here in well-lit Myrtle Beach, but it's a good demonstration of what folks are seeing and experiencing all along the coast as we await the actual landfall of the storm. And just to reiterate for folks, the Weather Service has now canceled or allowed that tornado warning that we were monitoring in Wilmington to expire, guys.
Looks like we have another pickup truck that has been caught up in the storm surge here in Myrtle Beach, 10:07. This is going to be 5 miles northeast of Myrtle Beach, so another surge report there. Storm surge flooding near Kings Highway, 70th Avenue. Pickup truck has been submerged and stranded on the shoulder of the road. So,
I'm taking a look at the weather flow stations around Oak Island and Bald Head. So we can go down the list. Federal Point is gusting to 62 right now. Oak Island is gusting to 72, and Lockwood's Folly Inlet is gusting to 77, sustained at 51. So meanwhile, when you get over to Lake Arrowhead, you're getting north-northwest at 19, gusts to 38. So you're definitely seeing that center of circulation becoming very well defined from the surface observations. So I think that we're getting close on this, but yeah, this is a pretty gnarly storm right here. Let's see, yeah, so 77 miles an hour from Lockwood's Folly Inlet. That's nothing to sneeze at, my friends. That is a solid hurricane force gust.
So that tornado warning has been expired. So that's some good news at least. Jared, you were talking about that 50, I think you said 51 sustained wind. That's almost severe thunderstorm criteria. I mean, just imagine 51 mile per hour wind. We know what it can do to trees in severe thunderstorms, and we're getting that on a consistent basis right now.
Right, exactly. I mean, this is, again, this is going to be with them for a little bit. Let's see, we just got a new ob out of there. Yeah, so another gust to 74 at Lockwood's Folly. So gusting pretty consistently to hurricane force out here. I'm just kind of peeking around at some of the other stations here. This is the Sand Dollar Dream Station, gusted to 79 with a sustained wind of 62 out of the east. So again, this is right in the middle of this eye wall. And it's going to be interesting to watch these too in about 20 or so minutes once it clears the eye wall and may get some of that calm in there. It's going to be interesting to watch to see what the winds do here.
Even up to Wilmington Airport, ILM's gusting to 49 miles an hour now.
Yeah, that's going to.
And 54 at Wrightsville Beach.
Here's another one. I'm going to be tweeting this out on the Carolina Weather Group page. More flooding now at the corner of Ocean Boulevard and Main Avenue in North Myrtle Beach. That goodness, this video looks to be a couple of feet of water there. That's some big storm surge right there.
And if all we had to rely on was satellite views, take a look at how it looks now on satellite. You wouldn't think that we're getting this kind of wind because it still looks really ragged, but boy, did it really wind up and deliver a punch in a big hurry, didn't it?
It's definitely since you and I jumped on around 7:45, Frank. I mean, it's really strengthened over just a couple of hours.
Yeah, it sure did.
So again, I'm sure right now we're starting to hear more reports of storm surge flooding. Again, we ask those folks, don't be out in the streets or driving out in this water. Rescue crews need to be out doing essential stuff, and they don't need you to be stuck. That puts yourself in danger as well as the other ones. So definitely no need to be out in this mess. Let it pass. That's the one saving grace with this. It is a fast-moving storm, so in relative terms, it's going to be in and out pretty quickly over the next few hours.
Indeed, but for the short term, the coastal part of Brunswick County right now, man, those winds do look pretty rough on that camera right now, and it's confirmed by the radar. Winds even below 1,000 feet are showing up to 85 to 95 knots. That's potentially peaking over 100 miles an hour. So that's potentially the worst case scenario on our gusts at this point.
Want to let folks know here at 10:25 that we will have another update from the Hurricane Center at or just shy of the 11 o'clock hour, where we could also see maybe some fine adjustments to that forecast cone, especially if they know where for sure it's going to be coming ashore if it hasn't by then already. My point is also this: if you are getting ready to go to bed in eastern North Carolina, maybe a little bit further north of the area that we're zoomed in on, you're going to want to take a weather radio and put it by your bedside tonight, because this is going to be coming up the I-95 corridor through eastern North Carolina into Virginia during the overnight hours. And we're going to be watching for the tornadic threat. We're going to be watching for the flash flood threat that we've already been telling you about elsewhere. And if you're asleep, you're going to need something to wake you up. Make sure it's battery operated, because these strong winds could bring down power lines, and you don't want your weather radio to go offline. So find something that will wake you up and operates off of batteries, and this way you can be sure that you will be awoken in the middle of the night if there's any sort of severe weather threat where you live, guys.
That's especially the case with the potential for an isolated tornado or two still out there as well. Just looking at the velocity data out over the Atlantic from the Morehead City radar, you're seeing a few couplets out there over the water that look like they can rotate ashore. So it's something else we have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, looking at that video, I'm just mesmerized by what we're seeing right now in Oak Island. That's out in the middle of it, folks. That's about as close as you can get to it. We're at almost 10:30 here, and if you have property or someone who's vacationing in these areas, now's the time to hunker down as this eye wall approaches. That's where we see the most intense part of a hurricane, the most wind, the heaviest rain, and that's all over the southeast coast of North Carolina right now between Bald Head Island and Myrtle Beach. So
I can't believe we're doing this at 10:30. I really thought even when I woke up this morning, this was going to be 1, 2 a.m. This thing really picked up.
It has. It really has. I mean, it is. I think last I haven't seen the last couple of advisories, but at one point it was moving 16, 17 miles per hour. And normally we kind of see them slow down as they approach the coast in some regards, and that's just not happening here.
Yeah, that and the rapid intensification, that both was a bit of a surprise here. It kind of caught us off guard, I guess, a little bit, how the eye wall really came together here at the last minute and the pressure dropped as it came ashore, or headed towards shore.
Again, looking through some of the Twitter here, very close to landfall, a lot of people, our Horry County Rising friends tweeting out some heavy flooding in Garden City. Again, we just saw the video of the flooding there in North Myrtle Beach of storm surge. So Brad Panovich, friend of ours, just tweeted out a picture from a weather flow station. As you guys know, that Shay works for them. Smart weather station at someone's beach house on Oak Island hit 81.2 miles per hour, now up to 86 miles per hour. and he just tweeted that about a minute ago. So 86 mile per hour wind gusts there in Oak Island. That's the camera view that you see right now of the pier. So I mean that is that's some pretty intense wind blowing through the area.
Yeah, no surprise the way the radar winds are looking. It's mighty impressive in that area.
It is. It is very stormy night across the Carolinas, southeast North Carolina. Again, no active tornado warnings. That's a good thing. We did have several tornado warnings earlier today. We do have looks like ECE is approaching landfall here over the next hour. So we do have this heavy band that we'll have to monitor. That's going to be moving up into the Morehead City, Jacksonville, up into New Bern area. That's kind of showing some signs of on and off rotation. So wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few tornado warnings for that. That's one of the outer bands of the eye wall that is going to be moving into that area. Those outer bands are we see the tornadic development with these systems. So again, Jared, we were talking just a little bit ago, the eye wall coming awfully close to maybe having an official landfall here in just a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like we're about probably, yeah, I mean, we're getting there. I mean, probably another 30 minutes or so before we have a landfall. Right on the line. I mean, that's as there it is. This is it is remarkable to me, the radar presentation versus the satellite presentation. Alan Gerard, who works at the National Severe Storms Laboratory, I believe that's where he is. He used to be the meteorologist in charge at Jackson, Mississippi. He tweeted that he cannot believe it's strengthening, and he believes that this is strengthening in a way that is he's never seen a hurricane strengthen in a way that is through non-tropical processes. And I got to tell you, I mean, look, Hurricane Center is not putting this on their business cards. Let's just put it that way. But it doesn't matter how it looks, right? Like this thing is packing it. This thing is doing damage. This thing is causing significant flooding. Even on the western side of the storm, and who knows what we're going to run into here in a little bit.
Well, what we might run into shortly, I just saw that the National Weather Service in chat mentioned that they just had a 97 mile an hour gust at Frying Pan Tower. I put in a little dot on my radar so you can see exactly where that is. So there it is, about 30 or so miles southeast of Southport. That's so right on the edge of the eye wall. It gusted 97 miles an hour now. SUT, Brunswick County Airport, just got a gust of 57 knots too. That's what, 65 miles an hour? 68 miles an hour, something like that.
Yep. It's also raining very heavily.
Right.
James, I think we got some videos. Maybe we can play one of those and we can kind of take a breather, get us a sip of water or something, and kind of come back with maybe some updates here from the Hurricane Center shortly.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll do the talking.
Time.
I'll do the talking for you guys. You guys have been on for a little while now. We appreciate all that you've been doing. Matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and start that countdown clock in the next 25 minutes or so is when we expect to hear from the Weather Service. James Brierton here in Charlotte, monitoring social media as well, too. We have a new video in from a friend of the show, Mark Stutta, with Hurricane Track. So you can find him on Twitter as well, too. He sets up all of those really cool cameras right in the line of the storm. And let's take a listen here to what he's recording on some of his cameras.
Is coming over, hopefully, and this will start to. This is the house in Oak Island. I think there's somebody staying there too. And this is getting hit by ocean. This is live as it's happening, folks. Wow. Oh my goodness, this is live from our unmanned camera. That's the ocean right there. Waves coming in. The eye is coming over, hopefully, and this will start to abate. Look at that foam. Oh my goodness. Anybody who has cars down there, they are in big trouble.
So again, that's a video from Mark Suddeth of
house.
Hurricane Track. And he's telling us about what they're recording there on one of their unmanned cameras. This one in Oak Island, where you can see water has started to wash up onto that camera. He mentioned the eye. We have Ethan Clark, who has just shot this amazing video. Look how calm it is in the eye of the storm. Things have really calmed down here where Evan is. We also have video in now from our friend of the show, Chris Jackson. He has a high vantage point over Cherry Grove in the North Myrtle Beach area. Let's listen to what he's describing.
All right, for everybody watching, sitting here in South Carolina, Cherry Grove Beach, got me a nice elevated position in a parking garage here. What's going on is it looks like a lot of the storm surge flooding is coming from the marsh side in Cherry Grove. Everything that you can see here is underwater. I mean, there's literally 3 and 4 feet of water over most every single street here. The only reason I know that's because this is the edge of the that's right there. He's coming up on the high ground. But out here, there was stranded cars everywhere earlier. There was a stranded police officer's car. I mean, it's pretty insane. I don't know how many homes have water in them, but there's probably a lot. But as far as the eye can see, it is nothing but moving water, and the water has got all kinds of debris in it. A couple of the side streets I was on closer to the IGA actually had propane cylinders floating down the middle of the street like you would use to cook, like a grill with. But this is about the safest place in town to be. Nice reinforced concrete building.
Of course, guys, as he says that, I'm thinking he's going to find himself trapped if he's not careful, because that water is beginning to surround him. And so Chris is a professional at this, and I'm sure he has some sort of plan, and we know he's been to Cherry Grove before. But that's my thought here, is he looks to be up in a parking garage of some sort that, you got to watch 360 degrees around you and always have an exit plan, and I'm sure and I hope that Chris does. But you can see just how that water is moving in here to Cherry Grove, and we show the video from Oak Island from Mark Suddeth as well too. So we'll keep a close eye on all of that's coming in right now via Twitter. I will mention we had the Surf Check camera up in the bottom right from Oak Island, but we either have officially overwhelmed that website with all the people trying to watch it that we've been disconnected, or we've maybe now lost connectivity to that camera. I can't say for sure. I will give it one more little swift kick here and see if it comes on back. But certainly you could expect, guys, with all of this hurricane force wind moving through, that the network, the internet, the power could certainly be knocked offline. So we'll continue to play some of this video here from Chris Jackson, where you can see people wading through the water, which is not recommended. We haven't see a car driving through the water, not recommended. And this is a hygiene problem, and it's also a injury problem because you don't know what's underneath the water. I know we're giving the rest of our panel a chance to kind of catch their breath. We've been on the air since what time was that, Scotty? About 7:30, 8 o'clock. You guys first came online with some tornado warnings. So we'll see if anyone else has rejoined me. If you
James, I wanted to, talking about Oak Island here, the weather flow station there is sustained at 60 with a gust to 87 as a 1036. So it's if we lost that Surf Checks camera, that's probably why. I'd have to say that is probably it. So we're seeing, and again, you're in the middle of that intense eye wall there. Now, I will say that I'm not really seeing a lot of the. We're not seeing a lot of the 100 mile an hour, 100 knot, the high end intensities on the radar. But I believe that's because the eye wall is just moving in, and it's just lower to the surface at this point. Still measuring, 6 mile-an-hour winds, 65 mile-an-hour winds over Oak Island at 1,000 feet on the radar. But again, it's possible that maybe there's a little attenuation now happening because the eye wall is actually just about cleared the radar. So it's gonna be interesting to see what these stations do in a minute. If they go, if we see some of them go almost calm, looking around trying to find recent updates there that might indicate that. But
it goes a 66 mile an hour gust at SUT, Brunswick County Airport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's attenuation or whether those strongest winds are just not quite getting down to the ground. That might make sense given the rapid intensification that we saw. Those winds may be happening 1,000 feet and higher, and some of them, in gust getting down to the surface, but not really those sustained winds getting down. We can be thankful for that if that's what's actually happening.
All right, guys. We got Ethan Clark in from Ocean Isle. He is in the eye of the hurricane. Ethan going to be joining us here in just a second. Ethan, do you hear us? Do you copy? All right, we'll give him a second to join in here in just a second, but we are going to have Ethan. He's connecting to his audio. So, Ethan, can you hear us? All right, we'll continue working on that, guys. I'll work in the background if you guys want to continue. I'll see what we can get worked out with him.
Ethan is the one who's in the eye. We showed some of his social video just a minute ago, and he has since shared another photo where he can see through the clouds the moon shining. This is something that folks along the coast have not been able to see for the last few hours with this wall of precipitation and cloud cover moving through. So it looks like Ethan has fallen off of our connection, and we'll see if he's able to come back up here in the next few minutes, but it's calm in the eye, which is not all too surprising, I suppose. But we'll watch for his connection to come on back. I've also checked in with Dan Whittaker, who is out storm chasing. Remember earlier he was trying to find some gasoline. He found some gasoline. He kind of recharged himself and his equipment at a friend's place, and he is on his way back out towards the water right now. So hopefully we'll have some pictures from him coming up here in a little bit as well too, as we draw towards the 11 o'clock hour and the next update from the National Hurricane Center. We'll have that for you as soon as it does come in. And if they are going to make any adjustments, this would be one that they will upgrade or update that forecast cone. So we'll watch for any changes in that.
All right. I know Ethan's battling some bandwidth issues down there. A lot going on. Ethan, can you hear us? All right, we're still having problems trying to connect him. Worst case scenario, we'll figure out. Maybe he can call in. I'll get that information to him, James, if it's the same as it was earlier.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we got you.
All right, I couldn't do video for some reason. It's not working.
That's quite okay. That's quite okay. We're happy to have you.
One bar phone service. Yeah.
So
I'm in the eye now. Pressure's down to 987 last check. My station's about a foot from underwater.
Very good. Tell us what it's been like there. I think you're in Ocean Isle, correct?
Yes, I am. We had probably the outer bands come, and then the eye wall came through, and that was probably, I'd say we had winds gusting 65 to 70. It was enough to close the bridge, so it was at least over 50 sustained. And now we have a surge about 4.5 feet where I am. I'm at the highest point where bone dry, other than our backyard has about 4 feet, but we're not flooding our house yet. Most of the island, east and west ends, are both underwater. Canal streets have probably about 3 or 4 feet of water underneath homes. And then the beach is a disaster, obviously.
Ethan, we're getting a report. We've got your Twitter page up showing some of your videos and photos. Weather Service out of Wilmington just reporting they have a spotter at Charlotte Point in Brunswick County. They're in the eye as well. Pressure down the 992, calm winds and fog developing. I think your picture showed actually you could see the moon there. So I mean, it's
yeah, and Jupiter, I think too. I could also see.
Very cool. So you have a house there, correct? So I mean, you guys were able to get down there and get things prepared before landfall. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we prepped. there was some rules about, we have a boat, and the marina only allows it if there's going to be a landfall hurricane. And they stopped collecting boats on Sunday, and obviously they upgraded it then, so the marina did not store the hurricane. So we've tied the boat off on the dock, and it has made it. So, and the surge is tied. We took it off the lift because the lift, it would have been underwater now or ripped out from the lift. So it's just floating with the dock, and the dock thankfully we've updated the pilings on the dock after Dorian and Matthew came through. So the pilings are way high, so the dock is fine. The surge should be going down. I haven't been around back. I've moved out front to look at the stars and the moon. And we have, now we're just calmed down. We have power at most of the islands without power. There's like one section that has power for some reason. I think there's a different grid on how it works. But otherwise, we're doing fine. We don't have any noticeable damage. I'm sure there's parts of the island, which I'll have drone footage in the morning of whatever's happened from friends down the way. It's not good.
Well, we appreciate you spending a little time. I know you've got some stuff to do for WRAL. Last thing, I know you're going to school for meteorology. What do you think about the just a few hours ago this thing was fairly weak, and as it approached land, it's really started to strengthen. You have any comments on that?
Not surprising, but the Gulf Stream really did it, and the shear laxing along as it was coming. I was watching it about 8:30, and I saw the recon data coming. I was like, oh, that's going to be interesting when this eyewall gets here. It missed, I think the worst eyewall actually went to Holden and Oak Island last when I was looking at radar. So I'm wondering, I know Eric Webb is over on Oak Island, I think. So wondering what's going on over there.
I think the last, Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, was 85, 86 mile per hour wind gusts there.
Yeah, Oak Island is still, Oak Island is doing 62 right now, sustained with gusts to 81. So it's rolling. Federal Point now. Federal Point is at is sustained 62, gusting to 84. So and they're now.
I know there's tornado damage on Bald Head because my friend is actually on Bald Head. So there was some houses that had roofs ripped off. But otherwise, we're doing well down here. I expect the power to go out here soon as the eye moves up through Wilmington because the transmitters are up through there for Brunswick County. That's what happened to Dorian.
Well, Ethan, stay safe out there. We appreciate you joining us here for a little bit. Thank you for joining and letting us know what it's like there in the eye wall. Certainly appreciate your time. Stay safe out there. Hope you and the family and all the
thank you. I'll send some
safe.
updates in the morning when the sun comes up.
Definitely. We'll look forward to it. Stay safe out there and stay in touch. And we definitely appreciate a little bit of your time tonight.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So that's actually in the eye, and we could actually hear kind of a calmness in the wind there. I mean, it's just amazing that these storms can be so beastly, but in the middle, it's calm. I mean, we got to see the moon
and Jupiter.
Jupiter. So, where are we at on our clock? We're about 13 minutes away from the next update.
Yep.
James, I believe.
I wonder if they're just holding off so that they can say that landfall occurred at 10:55 or something, because it's real close.
It is. It definitely is. Getting more storm surge damage out of Garden City there. It sounds like they may have been hit hard with some storm surge down there in Georgetown and southern Horry County. So I'm sure we'll see. Jared, a little update to the Spring-Made Pier. I don't know if you saw this yet. The newest reading on the gauge is 10.18 feet. Still keeping it third highest tide on record, but it was 9.89. Now it's 10.18 feet that was measured there.
Yeah, that was at 9:06. So we're going to head out of that tide cycle now. But Ben, I'll tell you, pretty much the worst case scenario from a surge perspective, a full moon with king tides up and down the coast, and now you have a landfalling hurricane. Looks like the advisory is coming in. Thank you to our NHC gods. The tropical. So a couple notes: tropical storm warning and storm surge warning south of the South Santee River has been discontinued. So that is happening. As of 11 o'clock, it's now 25 miles east-northeast of Myrtle Beach, 50 miles southwest of Wilmington, max sustained winds of 85, moving north-northeast 20.
22 miles per hour.
Yep, zipping right along.
Yep, moving at 22, minimum pressure at 988 millibars. I want to say that Ethan tweeted that he had 987, but that might just be an instrument error. But still, 988. That's pretty. That's something. 85 miles an hour, and hopefully, it's a good thing it's making landfall now, because I feel like that this had no ceiling.
Yes, there was a lot more potential for strengthening if it would have stayed over water a little bit longer. I just actually tweeted that out. Raise your hand if you're glad this thing didn't have another 12 hours, even 12 minutes over water. Both hands up. Raise a leg, too.
I'll get my dog to raise his legs, too.
A friend of our show, Matt Lenza, talking about it. It's amazing that the last two landfalling hurricanes strengthened as they approach land. He said, I hope that's not an omen of things to come later on in the year.
Yeah. What it's worth, the water levels look like they've come down a good bit at Springmead Pier now. It's down to about 7.25 feet. After that, looks like that 10.18 is going to be the peak.
And that's
they were a little delayed in issuing that LSR, which leads me to believe that they believe that's the peak as well. So, it's a historic night, for better or worse, right?
Yeah.
And we said it before, we'll say it again, landfall won't be until the actual center of the eye crosses a land barrier, so not just this wall.
And that's any minute now, looking at radar. It's real close.
Federal Point is sustained at 65 with a gust to 99.
Wow. Oh, I hate it when it comes up one short like that.
So there you go.
If it's going to gust to 99, it should just gust to 100.
Yeah, just get it done.
Yeah, that's like a fail.
Yeah.
It's like a high of 99 or a low of 1.
So Holden Beach, at 10:30, they have there's a cooperative station there. Calm.
Wow.
At 10:30.
The I guess the Oak Island. I'm not sure if there's an airport out there or what. The weather station, ASOS station, reporting a 66 mile per hour wind gust. So.
Yeah, Oak Island is still going to 75. Lockwood's Folly is gusting to 44. They're closer to that eye. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on Oak Island here in a few minutes, because it looks like we're starting to see, that eye wall is really starting to clear there. Now the question is that are they going to get that real calm center or not? That's the ultimate question. They might be on just the fringe, but we're getting close.
Jared, backside of the hurricane now, 53 mile per hour wind gust out of the west-northwest at Myrtle Beach with pressure rapidly rising. So,
yeah, we saw this in Matthew. It was rather startling in Matthew. We actually had the stronger winds. It felt like, at least inland, we had the stronger winds out with the pressure rises. With the pressure gradient going the other way. We had some pretty gnarly wind gusts, 40, 50 miles an hour during Matthew for that. So, that makes sense. Again, think about it. You have these, pressure gradients. How do they work? That's how they work.
Looks like the hurricane hunters are in the eye right now.
Well, we know that they won't fly over land, so.
Right, yeah, they're just south, roughly, of Ocean Isle Beach right now, it looks like.
I gotta say though, it's very close, and this is going to be a looks like passage over the radar sign as well.
Right.
I'd be very interested. Actually, I'm going to go grab the VWP because that's going to be fascinating. VWP, for those of you who are not as who are not whoa, all caps alert.
Yeah. Possible tornado, Carolina Beach. Let's zoom in there. That's
That
going to
might
be
be
hard to
just
call.
it might be just be the eye wall though. The strong wind.
Yeah, that's probably just the eye wall. Although, like I said earlier, you get these mesovortices develop in the eye wall, especially in one that rapidly intensified like this. All kinds of weird stuff can happen. Certainly doesn't look like there's much in the way of rotation, but it's the eye wall. So
I'm just going to try to pull up the surf check camera, and nothing they could have done to keep their website and cameras online tonight. This is Mother Nature. But we'll see if that camera's down.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's amazing to me. It's Monday, right? Today's Monday, right?
Allegedly.
Just yesterday, we were wondering, is this thing going to make it? It was struggling off the coast of Florida, and now, I mean, we're 85-mile-per-hour hurricane. They're continuing to strengthen as it's making landfall.
Yeah. It's one of those things that we knew could happen, but it didn't look like it would happen, and then it happened.
Yeah. It's amazing where we were just like, man, are we going to have anything to talk about at all? And then,
I remember 2 days ago, the interaction with Andros Island, you had that naked swirl, just completely separated from the convection going towards Florida. I mean, you could have very easily made the assumption that it was going to go into Florida, and that was it. But then you had the burst of convection on the north side, and it just kept going. This is the story of Isaias is that it will not. It was the storm that wouldn't quit.
I just we were talking about this, I guess, last night off air, I think. But we hope this is as bad as it gets this hurricane season. But we're afraid, just looking down the road at what some of the model output is, and as we get into the prime of hurricane season, we hope this isn't just the warning shot. This. Especially for folks there in Oak Island and Bald Head Island down towards Myrtle Beach and Garden City. It's been a pretty bad night with winds and storm surge. And, we hope this is as bad as it gets this hurricane season, but it could get a whole lot worse. And that's worrisome as we're in the first part of August, and we're already on the ice storm. And it kind of tells you, this may set the precedent if it's going to be a long hurricane season here for us.
We were very close to having a J storm.
Yeah.
And fortunately that didn't happen. But I mean, this is we're as far as the usage of names, we are outpacing 2005, and we all know how Greek we got then. So.
And for those who may not follow the hurricane names, what happens with that is if we go through the list of names that's been allotted for this year, we go into the Greek alphabet, and it's happened occasionally, but it's a very rare occasion. And 2020 and all that 2020 has been, I guess it shouldn't be a big surprise to us that we could go down that avenue. All kinds
11 o'clock, you're watching Carolina Weather Group live coverage here on August the 3rd, 2020. We'll have updates on the tornado watch in just a moment. We got the 11 o'clock update in from the National Hurricane Center. What we're waiting for is official confirmation of whether or not this thing has made landfall. It should be just moments away. We're monitoring reports of what is more likely to be wind damage or hurricane wind damage there along portions of Carolina Beach. Law enforcement telling National Weather Service that a roof may have been blown off a home a few minutes ago. So we're monitoring that, as well as the impacts. And guys, I don't want to jinx anything, but you guys came on the air earlier when the eye was out over water, the storm was intensifying, those bands were coming on shore, and you had rapid fire tornado warnings. And we don't have any right now at 11 o'clock, which is allowing us to really watch there on the right-hand side of your screen for that imminent landfall. But that threat is not over. So if you are getting ready to go to bed here in the next little bit, be sure to take that weather radio with you. If you live anywhere from eastern North Carolina, Myrtle Beach north, that I-95 corridor, we have a tornado and flood threat for you overnight, guys.
Yeah, and just, the more I peruse through social media, we don't have the tornado warning, so it kind of gives us a little bit more time to kind of look through stuff that's going on. And the storm surge, the wind is one thing, but the storm surge may be one of the lasting effects of Isaias as we continue just to see these storm surge pictures come in from the Grand Strand. And you can, if you're listening to us, if you follow us on Twitter, we're tweeting a lot of these pictures out as they come in. If you're not, now's a good time to follow us at Carolina WX Group. We would love to have you follow there. That's where we're pushing a lot of these pictures and videos that we're seeing as the reports come in out of South Carolina and North Carolina tonight. EC is bound and determined to make landfall here in just any minute now.
Yep. Very soon we'll be able to call it, I think, and just doing a little measurement with the radar, with my GR2 analyst radar tool here, and looks like the eye is about 25 nautical miles wide, and the inner edge of the northern eye wall right now is about 11 miles inland. So any second now, I think we'll be able to call it landfall. Or somebody will, anyway.
And this is going to be Holden Beach, Sunset Beach, somewhere, Oak Island, somewhere right in that.
Yeah, right in there, Holden Beach, very close to Holden Beach, it looks like.
The last pictures we had out of there were incredible to show that force of the rain and the wind as that eye wall approached, but then we lost that camera. What we're getting now, though, is a double whammy. We're going to have Dan Whittaker and Chris Jackson at the same time as they're dialing into our Zoom, and I see them popping up on the screen. So We'll get some of those eyewitness reports coming in from people on the ground, because now we're beginning to lose the network that was showing us the camera and the internet. Dan or Chris, either one of you available to talk right now? I know you're probably let's go to Dan Whittaker. We have a picture from Dan. Dan, where are you? What are you seeing?
Hey, I am in Wrightsville or Wilmington, kind of center of Wilmington right now. And let me turn the camera on here. Let's see if you can see the wind. The wind's really starting to pick up. You can see we've got some kind of fast wind moving across one of the trees. I just witnessed probably 2 or 3 power flashes in a row occurring what looked to be kind of in south or southeast Wilmington. So yeah, it's really definitely starting to pick up here. Not seeing a whole lot for the flooding yet, but let's see if you can see the I'll step outside for a little perspective here. But yeah, it's shaking my vehicle. Let me go ahead and step out here.
Currently, be safe, Dan. So Dan is just north of where we think this landfall is going to be here in the next few minutes or so, and he's beginning to already see some of that eye wall really is approaching you, Dan.
Okay. Let's see. Can y'all hear me a little bit better?
We got you, Dan.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see if we can see some of this rain coming flying through here.
So, Dan, we have your picture. We're seeing the heavy rain. We're hearing the wind. You're certainly getting soaked. For our viewers, you're near Wilmington. That's where the eye. You're coming into some of those most concrete bands. We'll give you a second to catch your breath, because I don't know how long we're going to have him for, and I want to take advantage of the fact that we have video coming in from Chris Jackson as well, too, who last we heard was in Cherry Grove near North Myrtle Beach. Chris, can you hear us? Where are you? What are you seeing?
Yeah, James, how's it going, guys? Yeah, still in Cherry Grove. Sitting at 22nd Avenue and Spring Street. And, wow, the storm surge down here is absolutely incredible.
We were taking a look at your Periscope video, Chris, where we could see how much of that community is flooded right now.
James, I don't want to speculate, but I'm going to say there's at least 70% of this community that's underwater.
What are you seeing right now in terms of, we were talking a little bit about your own precautions, your own safety. Are you cut off, or where are we with regards to reaching this community?
I'm not sure. Good gracious, we're getting the backside of the eye wall right now. But I don't know if I can head back south toward North Myrtle Beach. But there is no way out of here on South Carolina Highway 9, the main road out of Cherry Grove. It's about 5 feet deep in water right now. And if you can see this, right in front of my truck, there's white caps going down the middle of this street in front of me.
Goodness.
How would you say the conditions have changed? You're now kind of on the western wall.
Yes.
What were things like the last 30 minutes?
So really, honestly, probably the last 45 or maybe an hour. We had a stiff onshore flow. Basically, we followed that western eye wall all the way up from Spring-Made Pier in Myrtle Beach, and we got up here. And at first, it wasn't a whole lot going on, and then I don't know if there was a partial landfall here or what, but the winds went calm for a solid 20 minutes. There was no wind blowing, no rain, no nothing. And I thought at one point I heard a C-130 Hercules, one of the recon planes from the 53rd, but I'm not sure, but it sure sounded like it. Anyways, now we're starting to get the southwesterly wind on the backside of the eye wall, and the water's completely changed directions.
Chris, first of all, good to see you. Good to talk to you. It's been a while. Miss having you around. Glad that you are safe. You and Ann are safe. Thoughts on this? I mean, just yesterday we didn't know if we was going to have a system, and it's really intensified this evening as it's making landfall. I mean, I know you love geeking out over these storms, and it makes you so giddy, and I love your excitement. What do you think about what's going on?
Well, I mean, I think there was signs that it wanted to happen. I mean, this storm has tried its entire life to overachieve. And, the last 3 to 4 days after it was down in the Bahamas, the dry air intrusion really was, did a number on it. But still, even then, it continued to try to develop, the strong inner core eye walls. And, during the day today, really after about 12, 1 o'clock, we started to see that eye wall start to get really concentric, and it tried to close itself off. And it did for a while. Then it started looking raggy. And, once things started happening down here, and I'm looking at the radar right now on my laptop here, it finally did its thing. So it was able to finally do what it wanted to do. And it's amazing because I just saw that this is the third highest storm surge on record down here.
That was my next question. A lot of the wind up in the Oak Island area, but where you are, really seems like storm surge is going to be the main effect from Isaias there along the Grand Strand.
Yeah, and I'll Scotty, if I can do it, let's see here. I'll try to do my best here. But I've got my beacon pulled up on Spotter Network, kind of where I'm sitting right now. And Brett, he's stranded at the Shell station in 4 feet of water, but he's on a high spot, so he's okay. But the marsh here in Cherry Grove, I can vouch for every single one of these houses on this street, that street, all the way down to about right there, that big tower. That's at least 15 or 20 streets, maybe 25 streets. Every single one of them streets is flooded with at least 4 feet of water. Almost every single one of them streets has a fire truck or 2 fire trucks or 3 fire trucks with boat crews rescuing people right now. And I don't know how far up Cherry Grove it goes. I'm sure it goes all the way to the end, but I've only been able to get about halfway down there.
Definitely.
So I don't know the magnitude of it, but it's large. It's big. There's a lot of rescues happening down here tonight, and the storm surge is, like I said, absolutely incredible.
We've been monitoring the Twitter and just hearing of all the water rescues going on down there is just amazing. And I hope you guys, you and Ann, stay safe out there, because I know you know what you're doing. We're not telling you know what you're doing, but just be safe down there.
Yeah, I'm solo. I'm with Brett and Logan with the Lost Orange Media. We're just kind of doing our thing. We're tag teaming this and checking out different spots together. And we found this by accident, Scotty. We were actually leaving. I was up here, and they were coming up here. They would stop to shoot a shot down in Myrtle. And I got up here, and I didn't see anything because I come in the main drag from North Myrtle Beach up the ocean. Well, I didn't know it, but that's the highest elevation spot of Cherry Grove. There was no flooding. I never saw anything. And then I get up here, and all of a sudden the storm surge started. And then they come down a side street. They were looking at my spotter network beacon because I called them when we were getting ready to leave to go to Oak Island. We were going to go get the eye wall up there. And all of a sudden, I ended up in about 4 feet of water.
That's crazy. Well, you stay safe down there. Be careful, and we're wishing you the best. And
Absolutely
get some great footage.
Yeah, it's I can't wait to see what the morning brings.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. You bring the drone? You got the drone out there ready to go?
Oh yeah, I've got the drone. I've got a few cameras. We're ready to do this thing. I really want to get up to Oak Island. I don't know if you guys are heard or not, but I've heard on Bald Head Island there's some houses that were apparently completely destroyed, and or I don't know how many, but from what I hear, that's a pretty ritzy little neighborhood up there with some serious significant damage. Homes completely destroyed from that earlier tornado.
Yeah, Frank and I was doing some live stuff then, and it does definitely look like a pretty hard hit area there on one side of Bald Head Island for sure.
Yeah, it sure does. The radar debris signature was fairly impressive down there, so I bet there was a lot of junk that was pulled up and to cause that. So there was probably a lot of damage.
Right, and it's good to see you, Frank, by the way.
Yeah, hey, how you doing? A lot of talk on Facebook. Finally getting to see you here.
I know also in Oak Island, where they had the first original tornado warning, I have a friend that lives there, and she said that they have a neighbor's, the entire roof of the house is laying in a street. That's where we were going to get. We were trying to go get some footage of that, but Storm Surge said no.
Federal Point is sustained at 70 with gusts to 85.
Wow. Hey, Jared.
Hey, man.
Hope you
Good to see you.
Well. Yes, you too, man.
Yeah, it's this is they are just absolutely getting slammed into that. They're just absolutely getting slammed by that eye wall right now. I wish Shay were here because he could tell us a little more about the elevation of these stations. A lot of the surrounding stations are sustained 52 and they're not quite as 70. But it's still it's still very much very much in the island in the eye wall there. So yeah, very bad by Federal Point. And guys, I think we're getting close to that official landfall. If you take a look at the radar, we're starting to see we're probably getting pretty close to that.
Yeah, I think it's either happening now or has happened. I'm just waiting for the official statement from the Hurricane Center.
Got radar on the right side of your screen and the left side of your screen now. Live pictures from Dan Whittaker, who's just to the north of Chris Jackson and across the state border, where he's in Wilmington. Dan, you're in a major metropolitan area that is now on that fringe of that eye wall as the storm has theoretically come ashore. We're watching cameras in your area. We're seeing flashes of lights. Is that lightning or is that power flashes? Dan's on mute. Let's see if he can. Oh, there's one of those flashes we were just talking about. He may have actually just lost power where he is. Dan, are you able to hear us? That was an example of the weather gods hearing my question and doing the one thing I was hoping they wouldn't do.
They're back on.
And they're back. So Dan's on mute right now, but we can still see his dash cam picture. And he seems to be.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, Dan. Dan, what happened?
Sorry, I was muted.
We lost, you lost power.
We did just lose power. It's back on for a moment. In front of me at this Audi dealership, behind me, their power did not regain there. So these are the last lights in my area, actually. And that's great because we get to actually see the rain and wind blowing because of that. And yeah, that was interesting. I'm glad I had the camera going for that power flash there. That usually signifies that this next lights, I imagine they'll be out in the next few minutes at this rate.
Dan, how would you describe the conditions right now? As best as we can tell, you're coming up on that eye wall, which is,
here we go. Well, do you see the wind blowing right now? That is significant. There's a power flash in the background and another power flash. Okay, so this we're getting a really strong gust right now that is about to take out some power for sure. Let me go ahead and kind of get situated here. I'll take you outside for a quick view. And let's see if we can kind of get into the storm a little bit here. So the conditions are very windy. I actually have an anemometer with me. I will see if I can't get a measurement here while I'm standing outside, and we can try and get a live wind measurement. So just bear with me for one moment. Here I go. Okay, here we are. So let's see if you can get a better view of the the rain here. Oh, and there goes the power going again. See it flickering. Okay, I got the anemometer up. Ooh, and this one's gonna do it. I bet you the power behind me goes out on this one. I hope y'all can see this.
We can see and hear you, Dan.
I hope you're getting a clear view of what I'm seeing here. These are some very powerful gusts. Trying to get a direct measurement with a handheld Kestrel anemometer here. We'll see what we can pick up, but oh, and there goes changing.
We still have you, Dan. We can see you. We can hear you. We're just letting this ride in production terms. We want to give you all the space to tell our viewers what you're seeing there near Wilmington. That's incredible.
Yeah. So as you can see, it is really gusting out here. I mean, this is incredible. Let me turn the camera around. Get us back into kind of a dry view.
Dan, while you're getting resituated in your vehicle, we'll continue to monitor. We'll come back to you in a second. Maybe Frank or Scotty can pick up this new tornado warning we have now in extreme northeastern North Carolina. You're on mute there, Frank. I think you're still on mute. All right. I'm going to hop in real fast because there goes Frank.
There we go. I was muted. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's up in Perkins and Pasquotank County. That's in effect until 11:45. Let's share the screen here so we could get a better view. Oh, wait a minute. There's mine. And probably ought to switch to the Wakefield radar for this one, if I can find it. There we are. Yeah, this is way out here in far northeastern North Carolina, out by Elizabeth City. And this runs till 11:45. The worst of it, most dangerous part of the storm near Weeksville, and moving to the northwest at about 35 miles an hour. There we are. Looks like actually just moving in from the sound here, and it looks as though it's going to track very close to the Perkins-Pasquotank line here as it heads toward the northwest. So those of you in that area, I imagine that's pretty sparsely populated out there, but certainly there are a few people out there. You'll want to be taking your tornado precautions right now. You'll want to move to an interior room or a basement. Put as many walls as you can between yourself and the outdoors as this storm moves your way. Moving pretty quickly as well, heading to the northwest at 35 miles an hour, so you're not getting a lot of lead time here as this potentially tornadic thunderstorm moves your way. Again, this just to the southwest, it looks like, of Weeksville and heading northwest, so looks as though it'll pass between Hertford and Elizabeth City over the next 30 minutes.
I think we have landfall, y'all. Just getting some reports in on Twitter. It looks like we do have landfall. No official word yet, but our partners at WPDE and Myrtle Beach, Ed Piotrowski, reporting landfall has occurred in Ocean Isle Beach. I guess we will wait confirmation from the Hurricane Center, but early reports is that's where the official landfall is going to be.
Let's see if we have it on their Twitter feed. Not yet.
I don't see it in chat, I can tell you that much.
Chat is not relaying hurricane update statements, but the landfall has happened. So this is from the Hurricane Center. Doppler radar imagery and surface observations indicate that the eye of Hurricane Isaias made landfall in southern North Carolina around 11:10 p.m. near Ocean Isle Beach with maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. The weather station at Oak Island, North Carolina recently reported sustained winds of 76 miles per hour and a gust to 87 miles per hour. A data buoy near the coast of North Carolina has recently reported a minimum pressure of 988 millibars. So as of 11:15, location 33.9 north, 78.4 west, 40 miles south-southwest of Wilmington, max sustained winds 85 miles per hour, moving north-northeast at 22, minimum pressure 988 millibars. So yes, we have landfall.
So this is as of 11:10 p.m. Ocean Isle. So we'll
I've been there.
That's right where Ethan is.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And now that it's come ashore, we get to watch all of the inland effects, starting first with the metropolitan area of Wilmington. This night is not over, folks.
Oh, no, long way to go. Or for y'all, anyway. I'm actually going to have to take off here in a minute. I have an early commitment
cozy
tomorrow morning.
Well, we appreciate you hopping on and beginning our coverage earlier this evening, Frank, with all those tornado warnings. We'll continue to watch the one right now in northeastern North Carolina. And again, we do have landfall here, but we're going to watch here as now the eye of the storm encompasses parts of the Wilmington metro area. Dan Whittaker, if you can hear us, my question for you is, where exactly in Wilmington are you? And do you anticipate getting the calm of the eye here eventually? He either unknowingly is on mute or he might be deafened by the sound of Category 1 hurricane force winds. Yeah, okay, you can hear me. We can't hear you. You're on mute, and that's okay. We see your smiling face. You're alive. You're doing great. Let me show people at home.
There we go.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, my screen was too wet to be able to press the button.
I just want to say the touchscreens in SpaceX held together, and that's what I was thinking as we were watching those guys take off and land earlier in the week. The touchscreens sometimes get a little finicky, especially when they're wet. All right, Dan, bring us up to speed. Where are you in Wilmington? What are you seeing in this eye wall, and do you expect to actually get a pass of the eye and some of that calmness?
Right, and I apologize. I meant to give you this update before, but once again, I was stuck on mute because of the water on my screen. So basically, right at this moment, we are seeing some pretty strong wind gusts, enough to cause a lot of power flashes. It's getting to the point now where these power flashes are becoming consistent in the background, and typically what we'll see is that'll until there is no power left. So hopefully you can see what I'm seeing here. We're getting a little bit of flooding to build up, but not much. The biggest thing right now for sure is wind, and this is once again central.
Oh, we
have pictures but no sound. If we could close out that screen share, guys, it'll be a little bit easier for me to pin up his video.
I think that's Frank's.
Okay, I'll just do this.
There we go.
Problem solved.
We have a new tornado warning near New Bern.
All right, give this to real fast there, Jared.
Yeah, we have a new tornado warning near New Bern. Let me get the deets on that. If it looks like that was issued by Morehead City, so give me just a second here. I'm going to get this warning up. We'll read it out to you. If it will load. Come on, baby, you can do it. All right, so new tornado warning for central Craven County and southwestern Pamlico County and eastern North Carolina. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near News Forest, or 7 miles southeast of James City, moving north at 55 miles per hour. Radar indicated right now. This is heading. This is going to impact New Bern, Askins, Caton, Olympia, and Fairfield Harbor, Bridgeton, and Erneuil. I'm probably just butchered that. I'm sorry. So anyway, so it's a radar indicated tornado moving very quickly. So if you just got warned on your phone, if your phone just went off, take shelter immediately.
Look at that. That's a tight couplet there. That's Fairfield Harbor, James City, you guys need to be in your storm shelter. I have roads loaded up here. State Road 1114. We got South Goose Creek Road, State Road 1102. This circulation moving over your area. Deep Creek Drive up into Creek Point Road. So this is going to be coming into Fairfield Harbor very quickly, and then eventually up into Highway 55, which is near Bridgeton, as this cell will quickly move off. But that's a nice couplet there. That could potentially have something on the ground. Let's go to the correlation. Look at that, Jared. We're starting to see a little bit of lowering.
Sign of something, that's for sure. Yeah. It's a little weakness. Let's see. I'm struggling my way there, but I'm gonna grab this as well.
Okay.
And,
well, I'll turn mine off, and I'll let you turn your, because you got better colors.
Mike, I thank you, Scotty. You're too kind. Let me share this real quick for you.
And this is going to be passing just outside of Newbern, which is a fairly populated area. I'm not sure if we have a camera there, James, but that's fairly
none that I've located so far. But speaking of cameras, Dan Whittaker's in the dark now.
Who he is, I see that. So power out there where Dan's at, but continuing to look at this. Yeah, that's really lowered the last two scans, so there potentially could be something on the ground there.
Yeah, let's. I'm pulling up. Do you guys see? No. It says my screen sharing is paused. I think. Yeah,
we got you.
I might be saturating my network. Yeah, my network might be saturating a little bit over here, but looking at what we've got going on here, and unfortunately, everything seems to have frozen on me. So we do see Dan out there, and it's absolutely rip roaring there. While I get it together here,
I'll get it for you, Jared. Oh,
yeah,
I can screen share because this definitely we're continuing to get the correlation coefficient lowered.
That's down. Yeah, that's down, and now you've got that skip marker there.
Yep.
Go to velocity.
Let's go over here to velocity. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thankfully, it looks like it's probably in a more rural area of the county. But again, Fairfield Harbor, you need to be in your storm shelter. This is going to be Highway 55. This connects you from the coast all the way back into Newbern. Newbern, you're not in this polygon, but you're just outside of it. So if you kind of live in the outskirts, you want to be in your storm shelter, especially on the east side of Newbern. Again, here's your shear marker or correlation coefficient. You can kind of see that lowering right there. So that could potentially be something on the ground there as it continues to quickly move to the north. And again, this is associated with the outer bands. We did have landfall in Ocean Isle, but the bands are still rotating in off the ocean north of the center. So that is where this tornado warning is located, in this outer feeder band. So again, if you live in Fairfield Harbor, Bridgeton, along Highway 55 between Newbern and Grantsboro, you need to be in your storm shelter. Lowest level, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And it's always a good idea to have some sort of protection on your head, a helmet of some sort, maybe some goggles, some sturdy shoes in case you do have to go outside and walk in debris. So definitely watching this area. Again, got some roads pulled up. South Goose Creek Road and John Pollock Road. And then there's the latest update. So you can kind of see it's still, we got a little bit of lowering there. So we'll continue to monitor this as the velocity is a little bit more elongated, but again, enough evidence there to say that there could be something on the ground.
Yeah, at least damage has been done. I think that's the takeaway there for sure. Damage has been done, and so again, it's a wonderful tool to have CC. I mean, how did we do this without it, right? So people should really take heed. Understand that this is serious. This is coming up on you very quickly. Tropical tornadoes.
Here's the reflectivity, Jared. What you're saying, tropical tornadoes, it doesn't have that characteristic look that we would see in a normal tornado warning cell.
No, not at all. And so, so that's the other part too that we've got to be very careful of. There, I'm also keep in mind too that we have this tornado warning, but we also have another tornado warning that is out still near Weeksville, just to the south of Elizabeth City. Looking at this from Wakefield here, this tornado warning for until 11:45 for Pascatonk and. Why did they do this to me? Can it all just be ECIs?
Yeah, anyway, those counties up there.
Perkins counties. I'm just gonna go for it. But you have a tornado, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 7 miles southwest of Weeksville, moving northwest at 35 miles per hour. Still radar indicated. Interestingly, Morehead City is still saying radar indicated. I would.
Yeah. There's enough evidence from radar to say that's confirmed.
Yeah, that's for sure. So looking at this one from Wakefield real quick, just near Weeksville, not seeing any evidence of debris at this point. So that's a good sign. But obviously if you're in any of these areas, let's see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit further here. This is along just south of Highway 17. So if you're on the western side of Weeksville, I would say that you probably want to be in a safe place. This is going to go up. Let's see if I can get I can't even get the roads to show up for me anymore. Jeez. Anyway.
Hey, Jared, while you're doing that, let's see if Dan Whittaker is still with us near Wilmington. We have his picture. Let's see if we have his sound and want to know what's going on there as that eyewall approaches and seems to be doing a number on the power grid there, Dan. Let's see if he can get his touchscreen off mute.
James, while he's doing that, just a quick, Brad Adair, a friend of the show, Livestorm Media, he just put a comment out, the Northwest eyewall was a doozy, not Michael, but pretty dang epic. So that we know what Michael did, but for him to say who's been in a lot of hurricanes, that's some pretty strong words there from Brett Adair, who's saying it was pretty epic going through that. So.
And I believe Chris Jackson is on his way to meet up with Brett if he hasn't already.
I'll point out with the tornado warning for that was near New Bern. New Bern proper, anywhere near there at this point is in the clear. The tornado is also not appearing to be down anymore. It looks like that debris signature that we saw has since faded away. Which again, tropical tornadoes, once you see them 1 minute you're there, the next minute you're gone, and so. But we still do have a pretty decent rotational signature. And again, this does appear to be in fairly rural parts of the county, but I'm going to zoom in anyway and see what I can find here. Yeah, not getting a lot of hits on cities from this. But again, let me pull up the warning. I'll do it in chat. So again, if you're near Askins, Olympia, Ernle, and Fairfield Harbor, stay in your tornado safe place for a few minutes. New Bern, you're good to go, at least for now. But again, this is going to be this is in effect until 11:45. So another math is hard. Anyway, it doesn't matter. 13 minutes.
13 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. 13 minutes to go. And so, just keep an eye on this and just be in your shelter. Hopefully nothing happens. But again, these things can spin up, touchdown very quickly. And with this rotational signature still evident, not the best looking one that you'll ever see, but it's still there. Certainly something that we have to be ready for just in case it does decide to tighten up again.
Our friend Phil Klotzbach, friend of the show, always a great fact finder and just kind of gives you those cool facts with hurricanes. ECIS, it's too late to say it now, but our hurricane that just made landfall in North Carolina just over 9 days after Hannah made landfall in Texas. This is the shortest time between hurricane landfalls in the continental U.S. since Cindy and Dennis. And guess what year? 2005. Recorded shortest time 23 hours between the Treasure Coast and Cuba and Brownsville. So again, this is just over 9 days, 2 landfalling hurricanes, the shortest time between hurricane landfalls since the year 2005. And as Jared said earlier, we know how 2005 turned out for the tropical season. So we look for these little oddities, and we compare years. And Jared, there's a lot of information that kind of compares this year to 2005.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not an analog we like.
No, we don't like those analogs.
No,
that was the word I was looking for, but it's late and it just wasn't coming out.
Yeah.
I'll let viewers at home know what they're looking at there, guys, too. This is live pictures of Dan Whittaker's dash cam. He has seemed to have found a boat in a parking lot, but look at the wind there. Last I checked, that eye should be very, very close to him at this point. So he may still be in an eye wall or an adjacent perimeter there in Wilmington, North Carolina. He is out on foot. We saw him walk in front of the vehicle a minute ago. He's getting some close-up shots. This is his dash cam. And we've been watching the lights in this parking lot flicker on and off as these hurricane force wind gusts come on through. So
James, report just out of the Wilmington airport close to Dan, 74 mile per hour wind gust at 11:17. So that's pretty significant. That's hurricane force winds.
It's right there.
Right in, the airport is on the north side of Wilmington, so that's even farther away from the coast. Looks like we have a new tornado warning. No, I'm sorry, that's the same one. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, that's
sorry.
We've got 2 on the board right now.
We do.
We've got the one that's kind of near New Bern, and then we also have one that is south of Elizabeth City. Little mid-level rotation with that. I'm going to go to if somebody wants to pull Wakefield for me. It's got a pretty good looking couplet, and it actually resembles a supercell. Which is more than we can say for a lot of tropical tornadic systems. But again, if you're in the if you're near Bob White Fork, Woodville, Rabbit Corner, those areas, you should be in your tornado shelter right now. This is pretty good looking circulation when you put it on storm relative velocity here. And in fact, it's possible that they may need to tweak the boxing of this a little bit, depending on. Well, maybe the boxing is fine, but this is going to get awfully close to Elizabeth City if it holds together. Wouldn't and again, you can't make any real speculation on what's going to happen if they what's going to happen downstream with the tropical tornado. But if this does keep going, we could see at least the western side of Elizabeth City possibly put under a tornado warning here. I'm going to look around a little bit. Still not seeing any sign of debris, which is good. But we're also hitting the beam at that 4,900 feet. So so that's looking at it from Wakefield. So again, that's going to be that's always going to be a little tricky. It's going to be a pretty strong tornado if it's lifting up lofting debris to 5,000 feet. So again, Elizabeth City, keep an eye on this. You're not officially in the polygon, but it's certainly something that you're going to want to watch as this heads up. It looks like it's heading generally. And again, let me see if I can't get that. It looks like it's pretty close to Highway 17 right now. So yeah. So it looks like it's actually poised to cross US 17 if it holds together here in the next few minutes. So again, something to just want everybody to be cautious here as it approaches very close to Elizabeth City.
Jared, that's quite a distance away from where Isaias has made landfall. I mean, that's in a car. That's a good 6-hour drive from that part of the coast of North Carolina down to the Wilmington area. So.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And again, that just shows, how far flung, the tropical tornadoes will be from the center. And go ahead.
Nope, continue. My OBS froze. Maybe they can still hear us. Keep going.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I mean, it's, it's definitely, we're going to have these, this potential for tornadoes, pretty far out. I'm going to let me grab a look at the severe watches real quick, actually, because there is a tornado watch. I think that, that's something that hasn't gotten, we haven't done a lot of mention of tonight, is that there is a tornado watch out. It does include Wilmington. It does go up, goes well into the rest of eastern North Carolina. This tornado watch will continue until 6 a.m. So this is one of those, you always get they always max out the long tornado watches for tropical systems, and this is no exception. So again, eastern North Carolina from roughly not I-95 east is under a tornado watch until 6 a.m. So nocturnal tornadoes, bring that weather radio with you. Make sure it can alert you. Make sure you have your phone with you. Take it off the do not disturb so it can alert you. Make sure it can wake you. And it looks like the tornado warning for
Craven and Pamlico.
Yeah, that one's gone. So that one has weakened and is no longer capable of producing a tornado. So now we're down to one. And that one continues to be the cell near Elizabeth City.
Getting some reports of some trees down in Horry County as we're starting to see the backside of the wind blow through. Just getting some reports out of the Briarcliff Acres area. That's in the northern part towards North Myrtle. So be mindful of that. Just now that since the center has made landfall, it doesn't mean that we're not going to see winds on the backside of this. And at times, they can be quite gusty and create damage. So just be mindful of that as well.
Yeah, as those pressures rise, I mean, again, you think about it, you think about pressure gradients and how they work, and you think of you think of the centers of high and low pressure as a couple buildings, and you feel the wind kind of being squished between those buildings. Obviously a very simplified way to look at it, but it works. It's a good metaphor. And
looks like we
have
got
a new tornado warning.
Yeah, that's going to include Elizabeth City.
Yeah. So as I suspected, we have a new tornado warning now that will include Elizabeth City. I'm going to get some details on that for you in just a second. Again, we may be here a while. New tornado warning for northwestern Camden County and Pasquotank County and northeastern North Carolina until 12:15. Tornado was near a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was near Elizabeth City, moving northwest at 35. Still radar indicated. It's going to be near South Mills and Morgan's Corner around midnight. So again, Burnt Mills, Horseshoe, Rabbit Corner, Lynch's Corner, Pierceville, Tara Corner, Sharon, Okisko, Pasquotank, and Spence's Corner all need to take cover. Again, nocturnal tornadoes, extremely dangerous. You can't see them coming.
Yeah, most likely rain wrapped as well. So
no chance.
Wouldn't be able to see it. This is going to be traveling up Highway 17. That's 17 kind of it runs through your area there in Charleston, Jared. It's a coastal highway.
Absolutely, and so this is going to so this is crossing this is going to cross 17. This is going to head pretty much right up it. So South Mills, this moving at 35 miles an hour, not quite as fast as some of the ones that we saw further to the south, but still respectable clip. Just get ready and get into your safe place, write it out, lowest floor, interior room, closet, put on a helmet, put on shoes, and hunker in until you get the all clear. Hopefully, again, you won't need it. Hopefully you don't need all of those things, but if you do, it's good to have.
We're further away from the radar, so nothing really showing up on correlation coefficient. But like Jared said, I think earlier we're 4,000 or 5,000 feet aloft. So
yeah, and this is a good looking. I mean, this is a pretty. When you look at the rotational signature here, this is a pretty healthy rotational signature here. When I go to the normalized rotation product, it's pegging it's pegging about 0.75. That's respectable. I mean, for a tropical tornado like this, that could drop it really at any time. it's looking, somewhat supercellular. It definitely has the look. There may be another weakly rotating area right behind it too, between Weeksville and Shiloh. So something to watch there. It's very weak right now, but that is it's not really pinging on the NROT scale. But I'll tell you, it definitely, there is still a very small couplet there, and small couplets can turn into big couplets in no time. And then behind that, there is another area of rotation that is just southwest of Jarvisburg. This one is going to head towards Shiloh. Again, no warning on this. Nothing to really worry about right now. But if it does tighten, it will tighten quickly. So, we're getting to that point now where some of the additional tornado threat is starting to not only get into North Carolina, but now into Virginia itself as well. So definitely something that people will need to keep an eye on really overnight.
People are probably going to think I'm selling these things, but folks, you can see it all the way from Wilmington all the way to the Virginia line. The tornado threat is real tonight. Mm-hmm. Go to bed with the battery-operated weather radio on your bedside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're starting to see some lightning strikes around Elizabeth City too. That rotational couplet is right on top of Elizabeth City at this point.
And Jared, just looking, the atmosphere there, temperature 81, dew point 79. So there's a lot of juice. There's a lot of energy, a lot of instability to work with there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's a tropical atmosphere, pretty well sheared in that northeast quadrant, and that's just how this is going to go. That's just how this is going to go. But yeah, you have pretty good meso signature right over Elizabeth City right now. A little bit of an inflow notch, has that kidney bean shape that a supercell normally has. So again, we'll need to keep a close eye on this.
Thankfully, once it gets in north of Elizabeth City, it's more rural area, so hopefully not as many people affected by this. But Elizabeth City, fairly sizable city there for northeast North Carolina. So
we're taking a look right now at the visitelizabethcity.com webcam. This is a still picture camera. It gives us a picture every 5 to 10 seconds or so. So it's not real time, but we can see some of the conditions there on your screen, and we'll keep an eye on that for sure. If it's okay with you guys, I was going to try to touch base with Dan Whittaker.
Yeah.
Dan, I think you're back in your car.
Okay.
I see you coming off of mute.
Back.
How are things in Wilmington?
Yeah, that's right. So this wind is it keeps picking up by the minute. About 30 minutes ago, we weren't seeing anything near this gusty, and now we're seeing pretty good sustained winds with gusts, and there goes the power, and we're getting a lot of power flickers. There's one right now. That might have done it. Each time one of those happens, it seems like a little bit less of the lights actually turn back on. There's more power flashes in the distance. You can see it looks like almost like lightning, which is actually the transformers exploding or going out in an explosive fashion, lighting up the dew and rain in the sky to actually cause that kind of light bubble that you see in the background there. One thing to note that's really interesting about this is I've spent a few different hurricanes in Wilmington, including Florence. I was here for part of Matthew and Dorian. And what I'm seeing tonight so far already battles the wind speeds that I saw with Florence, as far as, being in the same kind of place and looking at the same types of trees and seeing how the damage that's always starting to occur, which right now we're seeing small to medium limbs coming off of trees. I had something about 5 minutes ago blow off and hit my car real hard. I'm not sure what that was. But I think as this thing keeps going, we're going to see a lot of power outages. Florence was a nightmare for Wilmington. Trees were down on every road with massive power outages throughout the entire area. I expect we'll see something like that again based on what I'm seeing. My car is shaking right now.
Dan, what do you bring with you for chases like this? You're going to be out there all night, potentially with no power.
Right. Well, that's what the lady at the gas station asked me. She said, you must be,
out of your mind?
Expecting to go into a hurricane or something. Yeah, I got Nutty Buddies and a bunch of different snacks and some cooler items and some ice. Yeah, basically, this one I could have packed a little bit better with substantial meals, but I have a whole lot of snacks. So that's where I stand with that. I do have some MREs and stuff as backups, but basically most of my equipment is in the idea of having lots of gasoline so that I can function freely and not have to depend on gas stations. Lots of cameras so that I can film every angle of the storm. I have an anemometer to record the wind speeds, and an SUV that has a good little kind of lift off the ground to kind of take me above the floodwaters. So that's the basics. I mean, I probably have, $20,000, $30,000 of equipment in the vehicle, including backup power batteries and all sorts of backup supplies too. So basically, I could function out of this car. Unfortunately, living off of snacks, but I could function out of this car for a few days at a minimum, self-supporting, which is part of what makes me confident in going into these situations.
Preparedness and confidence are the two things storm chasers really need. What are you thinking in terms of perspective? Are you positioning yourself here in this parking lot for a particular reason that you could kind of peel back the curtain and explain to our audience?
Yeah, good question. So the one thing when we get these night falling hurricanes is you can't see it. And you need a light to see it. Otherwise, it is very dark and very windy. So basically, what I try and do is set myself up in large parking lots with multiple lights. As you can see here, it's a well-lit parking lot, slowly becoming less and less lit. And the goal is to be able to visualize the rain and visualize the movement of the trees to really actually see how that wind is blowing. For Dorian, for instance, I had to go so close to the coastline there that there wasn't much power and available lights for me to even see the wind. And that was a much different experience because you can't really tell how fast things are going other than how much your car is shaking or how windy it feels when you're outside of the vehicle.
How windy is it outside your vehicle?
Well, it's, my whole vehicle is rocking back and forth. I'd say that usually happens in this vehicle in about 70-mile-an-hour winds is when you can start feeling it shift a whole bunch by just sitting there. So I would say we're easily seeing gusts in, last time when I was in the same parking lot for Florence, we had official wind gusts of up to 105 miles an hour in my relative location. And I was in this parking lot when those gusts were filmed or when they were recorded. And I'm seeing similar gusts right now for sure. And as far as just being able to kind of gauge it with my experience.
I want to remind folks, we are also watching a tornado warning right now in northeastern North Carolina for northwestern Camden County. This is the one Jared had a problem with. Pasquantank. I'm butchering that. Yeah. If you live near Elizabeth City, you're in a tornado warning polygon right now. We'll take a look at the camera from a visit at Elizabeth City. We're watching a possible tornado, a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado that was located over Elizabeth City, moving northwest at 35 miles an hour. So locations inside this polygon include South Mills and Morgan's Center, where it's expected to be here in the next few minutes. Seek shelter now if you're in this tornado warning. And matter of fact, I'm just now seeing an update. This has been extended by the National Weather Service until 12:15. So this severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is now near Grandy. This just coming in and off the wire as I'm talking to you. Moving northwest still at 30 miles an hour. It'll be an Old Trap at midnight, Shiloh at 12:05, and Indiantown around 12:15 a.m. So you want to be inside, sturdy shelter, as low as possible with as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. Jared Smith in Charleston. Storm has moved
James,
well north of you guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the tornado watch for Horry and Georgetown counties has been dropped. So again, South Carolina, no more tornado watches. The storm surge warning and the tropical storm warning dropped for South Carolina. So a little bit of positivity there. But we do have this. We do have a couple of tornadic cells now showing up near, just north of Elizabeth City. And that one's really starting to wrap up too. Trying to get my screen share up and running here, but I'm having some trouble. But suffice to say, we've got. I'm just going to abort this, I think. Yeah, I'm dead in the water here, but this. So we were looking at some of these circulations earlier. And
yes.
And they were kind of showing signs, and sure enough, yeah.
So we have new tornado warning.
Yes,
Are you able to abort that screen share?
It is not letting me. It is
right,
my Zoom is totally. Yeah, I'm actually at this point. I'm going to be looking at these on my phone, and then we'll talk about them.
Yeah, let me read them off to people. So we have
talk about them
3
here. So,
tornado warning.
couple.
Hey, Jared, just chill out there for a second. We're going to read these tornado warnings that are coming in. I think your computer is on a good bit of delay as well, too. So we are continuing the tornado warning now for Camden County and the county that I'm straight up, frankly, cannot say, Pasquantank. This goes until 12:15 with a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Morgan Center or South Mills, moving northwest at 35 miles an hour. We also have a tornado warning for, again, that same county, Pasquantank and Piermans, and this goes until 12:30 with a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Burgess or 10 miles southwest of Weeksville, moving northwest at 30 miles an hour. Scotty Powell, are you able to give us a visual of these polygons, GR Earth or something there on your side?
I can. Yep.
If you could do that for us, that would be great. I know folks right now are looking right now on your screen at what remains of the not only the tornado warnings, but also the tropical storm warnings there in red, which go all the way up the coast. So that's pretty impressive to see that as the storm continues to move up 95 corridor, its extent will reach all the way into the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast. We'll have an update from the Hurricane Center here shortly. We have visual now from Scotty Powell showing us those 3 tornado warning polygons. So maybe, Scotty, with your controls and your visual, you could show people what I was butchering to say.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got these 3 tornado warned cells. Camden County, Pasquantank, I think is how you pronounce it. Currituck and Pyramid, the other Piermans, I can't pronounce. So that's my best guess. So Hertford is a city out there, Elizabeth City, South Mills, Seanborough, and these are more discrete cells that are kind of coming in off the ocean. So we can go into the velocities here and kind of let you see. Again, we're a little bit far away from the radars, another radar gap here between the basically the Richmond Weather Office and the Newport Weather Office. But we see this one rotation developing here just south of Hertford. That is impressive. And here's the other rotation. This is going to be just outside of Poplar Branch and Grandy. This is going to be moving into Shiloh and then eventually Seanborough. And then the third rotation, which looks a little bit more broad to me, eventually it'll be moving into South Mills here in about 5 or 10 more minutes. So these are the 3 cells that we are watching for rotation. We can go to the correlation coefficient, and we see this red right here. So there may be a little bit of an indication of a little bit lowering, but nothing that just screams that there's something on the ground. So we'll continue to monitor this and let you see. But again, this is fairly rural areas. Hertford, a little bit more populated. Elizabeth City, you are actually out of the polygon. The polygon is just going to be north of you. And then over here towards Silo, again, more rural area, farmland as we kind of zoom in here on GR. This is kind of a Google image background. You can kind of see a lot of farmland out here. So hopefully a lot of these areas are not really well populated. So people hopefully are not being affected. But if you do find yourself You want to be in the lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Best place to go, like an interior closet, bathroom, more sturdier part of your home. So those are just kind of some locations that are the best if you don't have a basement or some kind of underground storm cellar or something like that. But again, these 3 warnings, again, on the outer bands of Isaias, as it continues to move inland now in North Carolina. It has made landfall and now moving through the Wilmington area. I think we have Dan Whittaker's dashboard there that's kind of showing you what the conditions are.
Hey, Scotty.
There. Yep, go ahead.
I'm going to hop in for just a second. We have another breaking story now that Ethan is sharing. This is Ethan Clark. He's in, is this Grand Isle? This is Ocean Isle. Ocean Isle, yes. Where the landfall was. He is describing a massive fire on the island's west end with flames shooting 20 to 30 feet into the air. He is speculating that many homes may be involved here. So this is where the hurricane came ashore a little bit earlier, and now he is describing some sort of fire. Let me just pop the audio up here and share this with you, and you can just hear. So again, Ethan is describing 20 to 30 feet into the air. The flames are shooting from his perspective. He's speculating many homes could be involved. We'll continue to monitor this situation on Ocean Island, the west end. Ethan Clark is there, guys.
You know, it's such a sad story because the rescuers and the first responders are all spread out. You would imagine where landfall is made. So they're all kind of stretched out as much as they can. And now, you know, what could be probably some vacation homes that are, if you've ever been to that part of the coast, there's a lot of vacation homes that kind of butt up to one another. So it could mean that not only one, but several homes or condos or something like that could be in jeopardy here. So we'll continue to monitor that. Jared, I think you've got your system back refreshed. So.
Yeah. So a couple things. We just had a hurricane force wind gust at Wilmington. So at the Wilmington airport, so 74-mile-an-hour wind gust at Wilmington, New Hanover, at KILM, which is the airport there. So that has happened. Let me go, and I'm going to pull my screen back up, and we're going to look at these tornado warnings. And hopefully this doesn't completely bum out on me like it did last time. I'm not sure what that was about, but you know, it is what it is, right? It's
the technology.
I mean, it's going to do things that it doesn't want to do.
Our computers are like, please, no more.
no more. Uncle. Yeah. So that should be getting the screen share back here in a second. There we go. All right, cool. So again, you can see the three severe tornado warning polygons here. Switch storm relative velocity, and you're going to see still 3 decent couplets. One of which is not the best couplet in the world. But it doesn't have to be, right? So let me get my annotator out here, and we will do the spotlight tool, and I'm going to spotlight this guy right. Let's see what that does. I actually have no idea what that's going to do. Okay, it did nothing. All right, we're going to draw. I'm going to draw like the Pilgrims did. So here's 1. Right, 1, 2, and then maybe 3. That one is the kind of the questionable one. Kind of an assault of tornadoes right now on US 17, and another one that's going to be approaching a US 158 here in the next 5-10 minutes or so. But right now, you know. Again, if you get into one of these tornado warnings, the best thing that you can do for yourself immediately is to get into a safe place, because these are moving very quickly. They're not, you know, they could lift and touch back down with very little warning. So it's something we have to watch closely. Correlation coefficient, again, we're looking from Wakefield. Probably not going to see as much there, but no indication that anything is on the ground right now, which is helpful. So again, these are still radar indicated tornadoes, but again, something could form at any time. This one is right on, I believe this is, I'm going to say that this one is right on the county line here. And this is headed towards US 158, splitting the difference between Shiloh and Barco. Shawboro, I mean, I'll tell you, you probably want to make sure that you're in shelter right now. Anywhere along US 158 from Camden to Poplar Branch, really be in shelter for the next few minutes at least. Going over near South Mills, here's another one. Here's another circulation. We have good velocity couplet here. This was the one that was near Elizabeth City earlier. This one may continue to trend northward, and if it holds up, we're going to see another tornado warning probably further up Highway 17 get issued into Virginia. So that's something that we're going to need to watch. Also worth noting that this is producing a lot of lightning. And so with the lightning in place, this is going to, that's certainly an indication that this storm is fairly potent. So go put the reflectivity back on. You'll see a little bit of a swirl again. The other thing is that these are all going to be rain wraps. So, it's dark. They're moving really fast, and you're not going to be able to see them. So you're just not going to be able to see them. So don't wait for the confirmation. Don't try to confirm them yourself. Just take cover and in that interior room and do the right thing for your family. So again, let's take a look at this third rotation. Not nearly as technically impressive, but it's going to cross Highway 17 here in a minute or so, splitting the difference between Hertford and Elizabeth City. So again, yet another tornado warning very near Elizabeth City. And this is going to ride along the county line here. Let me see if I can't get that out real quick. So this is going to ride between the Perkins and the Pasquotank county line here pretty shortly. So again, Scotty, it's busy up here right now. Again, you get in that northeast quadrant of a landfalling tropical cyclone, and you will get issues like this. With multiple circulations spinning up, spinning down very quickly, and they can cause a quick bit of damage. So certainly something to watch. Now let's see. I'm going to go back to the velocity display here for a second because I want to see if there's anything else that might trigger attention. And I don't see anything on base velocity. Let me go storm relative. Nothing there right now that indicates that there's anything else that's in jeopardy, at least from this radar, which is good news. But again, certainly something that we're going to need to keep an eye on for Perkins, Pasquotank, and Camden counties, and Currituck County as well. As we got that tornado is a possible tornado riding the Camden and Currituck line. And once again, it's always helpful to check to see if there's any potential debris signatures. Don't see anything of the sort there. Do see a small lowering of correlation coefficient around the lightning, which leads me to believe that maybe the beam is being depolarized slightly. So I would not worry about that too much. Quite a bit of lightning from this thunderstorm just east of Highway 17 in Currituck County. So actually, I think this one is, that's not Currituck County, that's Camden County. Sorry about that. Not sure why it decided to not put the county name in the center there. Do something nice for a geographically challenged folks. Mike Gibson, it's all good. But yeah, so that's the story up there. Let's see, it looks like,
I was going to say, interesting observation down on the Crystal Coast near Emerald Isle, North Topsail. They're starting to get wind gusts around 58 to 60 miles per hour. Yep. So that outer band moving into that area. And the Swansboro weather station, which is near Emerald Isle, actually reporting haze. So I'm wondering, at 58 mile per hour wind gusts and haze, I'm wondering if it's catching the sand that is maybe blowing through that area. That's
as we know, if it was Folly Beach, it would be snow, right?
That's right.
that's entirely possible that the automated surface observations are picking up on the sand. And interestingly, one of the tornado warnings just dropped off. So this is the one for let's see,
Currituck is. I think
Currituck is off the board. So I got to say, I didn't see that coming. So that's still a decent looking circulation there.
Yeah, the one over there towards Windfall and Hertford, just to the east of that's looks to be that rotation right there looks to be pretty well.
Yeah, so I mean, it's about to cross 17. We're about to cross 17 here, and I just overloaded my network so much I got kicked out of chat, so I have no idea what's going on. Anyway, but yeah, we're continuing to watch this. This is going to be an issue for for a lot of people tonight.
Tornado warning, new one for Beaufort County. That's going to be moving in towards trying to get this to populate. Looks like towards just outside of Newport.
Okay.
Morehead
All right.
City.
So yeah, so these are fast and furious here at this point. These tornado warnings. So
I'm sorry. I told you wrong. This is just north of Newburgh. This is going to be near Washington.
Okay.
And Bath.
All right. Let me switch.
It's going to be there.
All right. I'm going to switch to Morehead City here real quick. Let me pull that up. Give me just a second here. We got another radar source, and that's conveniently on velocity for us. So that's helpful. Yeah, that's a pretty good looking couplet there. It'll come into view here in just a second. That's a good looking couplet there, right north of Aurora here. Yeah, that's that's the one that we want to check. So far so good, but yeah, there's your supercellular kind of look to it. There's your mesocyclone, and we'll go back to velocity, and you can see there's your the storm relative velocity. There is your velocity couplet, and again, this is for Beaufort County, eastern North Carolina until 12:30. Very near Aurora. This is headed towards Washington, River Road, Pinetown, Bonnerton, Core Point, Edward, Bayview, Bunyan, Goose Creek State Park, and Aurora, which we just discussed. So again, if we called out any of those areas, and if you're in those areas, you're going to want to take cover. You're going to want to take shelter. Again, this is going to come up on you very quickly. It's moving north at 65 miles an hour.
Goodness.
65 miles an hour. I'm surprised the North Carolina State Trooper hasn't given this a ticket yet. So clearly we have a significant. We've got some pretty significant issues here with just these random tornadic circulations spinning up. So right now that's going to put us at 3 active tornado warnings, all in North Carolina. So again, tropical cyclone tornadoes, spin up, spin down, spin up, spin down, and that is no exception. Going back to look at Wakefield here. Might take a second for the screen to update. It's getting late. We're getting in that. Yeah, it's live, folks. It's live, and the only way we're getting paid is Patreon. So if I'm going to yawn on air and wear jeans, so be it. But yeah, so this is looking a little more ragged at this point near South Mills. Not quite seeing that circulation as well defined. The circulation that just crossed 17 near Windfall is actually looking the best so far. Let's go to the normalized rotation product real quick. Decent values here, running about 0.57. Nothing terribly tight, but certainly could get it done. And it looks like the best rotation indicated by the radar has actually moved out of the tornado warning polygon for South Mills. So I would suspect that we're going to see the warning probably either rebox or cancel here. Looks like there might be a new circulation trying to develop on the south side of this that's going to become dominant. So, again, this is going to be, these spin up, spin down. So that's certainly something to look out for and this looks like it's going to be further up the Currituck and Camden line. So a couple of these rotations as they really get close to Virginia at this point. These are going to leave our territory in pretty short order. So,
Jared, we're getting ready to see another tornado warning here just momentarily. This is going to be just south of Oriental. This is what county is this? Carteret County.
Carteret County. Okay, so let me go back to Morehead City real quick.
Yeah, we've got this rotation near Marymount.
All right, let me zoom. Let me get it in the right place. Yeah, that looks. Yeah, it's a bit broad, but it certainly could be coming together here. Let me I'll tilt up a little bit and see what we can find. Yeah, you can see it.
Another rotation coming in off the ocean near Davis.
Yeah, and you can see that this rotation is aloft here, and it might be trying to make it to the surface. So I definitely would not be surprised to see a warning if this trend continues. We could definitely see a warning out here that could take an Oriental, possibly Florence. And then we have another one coming in off the ocean you mentioned. So let me get zoomed out. I think I see what you're talking about. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down here. Let me go to storm relative.
A lot of lightning around that too.
Yeah. So there's that's a real nice little spike there. That's 55, 60 mile an hour inbounds there. So certainly something to watch as well. Right now, the active tornado warning is north of Aurora. Looks like it's going to split the difference between River Road and Bath, and is going to likely, might actually become a water spout for a brief period of time if it's on the ground. No indication that it is. Correlation coefficient is pretty quiet. A little depolarization of the beam, possibly due to lightning. But there's your circulation. And it is going to, it's going to cross right over, get very near Bath, and then it's going to. That is, let me see if I can't get the road there. Yeah, that's US 264. So that's could cross 264 and head towards Pinetown. So if you're in Pinetown, Bath, you guys are in the polygon. You're going to want to stay in shelter until you get the all clear. Aurora, I think you're good. You're still in the polygon for the time being, but this is well north of you at this point, so no worries there. So what's
seems ham radio operators reporting structure fire at Surf City condos in Pender County with hurricane winds going on. So that's being released in the Weather Service chat out of Wilmington. So we may hear some more information on that, but that's something we need to keep in mind. This power outages, you got power lines dangling. It doesn't take much for these fires to spark. And unfortunately, we've already seen that once with what Ethan was reporting earlier there in Ocean Isle. So
I'm wondering if we can get a hold of Ethan again by chance. I don't know if he'd be able to call in.
Oh, just send him a message. Agency.
Dan Whittaker, if you were still with us there from Wilmington, out chasing and crossing your fingers that the lights stay on. If you're able to hear us, how are things going there?
Things are going pretty decent. I say that meaning I've moved to a slightly different parking lot here. I'll go ahead and get on camera. I moved to a slightly different parking lot here. This is the last area in this large complex of parking lots. The last area that does have power. I'll try and show you around. So you can kind of look out and see, I'm in front of a Hampton Inn here. Oh, and there's another power flash and another power flash. And here behind me is where I was, where there is no longer any power. So I've just kept moving down this large commercial parking area. And if you look out the other window, we're all out of power that way too. So this will be the last one to give. It's flickered a whole bunch of times, and I don't expect to have it too much longer. And from there, we'll kind of just see what happens. I'm planning next stop here is to go down by the water and just see how surge is and weigh out the overall wind damage and flooding issues through downtown Wilmington and along the Wilmington to Wrightsville corridor there. So that's the next step.
Scotty, did we get any, or even Jared, did we get updates on those tornado polygons? While
we just got a new tornado warning. This is, as I mentioned before, this was that South Mills circulation. This takes in the far northwest corner of Currituck County and northeastern Camden County. This goes until 12:45 a.m. And this one has been kind of spinning up and spinning down as it is traversed northward through North Carolina. This is about to head into Virginia. So we probably will be moving away from this one shortly. But there's your circulation right there. Let me switch to storm relative there. Good, again, a good circulation, very key. Greens are winds towards, reds are winds away. That's where your rotation is. It's right on the Camden and Currituck line, just west of Moyock, and it is going to cross the Virginia border here in a minute. So we will probably let that one go once it crosses the Virginia border. But again, if you're very near the Virginia North Carolina line in northern Currituck and northwestern Currituck County, or northern Camden County, you're going to want to be in shelter. This is probably even more of a Currituck issue now, as this one is constantly shown a little more of a little more right of northwest. So we also have another tornado warning that continues on the Perkins and Pasquotank County line. This is presumably here just to test us and embarrass us, to say this, to try and say this after we've had to say Isaias all week. But looking at the velocity couplet, you still have a decent reflectivity signature here as far as a little swirl showing up. Again, we're looking about 4,000 feet up into the storm. This is straddling that county line, and if this keeps rotating, this could get extended up even further here, and this could approach Highway 158. Possibly getting very near South Mills again, as it makes a run towards the Virginia border. So these are these two tornado warnings are in effect, and then we have the other one that is down in Morehead City's territory. Let me switch to that radar. And this guy here is approaching Washington now. Let's take a look at the velocity, and the velocity couplet is still there. It's a little less well defined. It is just it's just come back over land. This is approaching Highway 264. It's splitting the difference between River Road and Bath. Pinetown, you still need to be on alert for this guy, as this is going to come up. It looks like we just got an update on the polygon here. So Pinetown, you're on the very edge of the polygon. Rebox, River Road, you're good. Bath, you're good. All clear in those locations. Highway 264 between River Road and Bath, probably want to not be traveling on that right now. Scotty, I suspect that this is more of a rural part of this part of North Carolina, if I am determining that correctly.
You would be correct. Yeah, the very rural part. Just heard a tornado warning, but I think I'm not sure that's for
that might have been the reboxing of the polygon there.
Yes.
We have a new tornado warning. We have a fourth tornado warning now on the board here. Let me zoom out and see if I can't find. Okay, so we have a new tornado warning, and this is looking a little further away, but this is crossing into Virginia. Yeah, so let me switch back to Wakefield, and we'll get that back up. So yeah, so here's your new tornado warning. This is a continuation of that tornado warning from Perkins and Pasquotank. This is just to the west of Elizabeth City now. Little donut hole, little beware here as it straddles these county lines, making a run towards the Virginia border. So again, we're watching these small circulations. This is going to split the difference between South Mills and Sunbury. It's going to cross Highway 158 here in a couple minutes. Let's go to the velocity display. There's your velocity couplet right here. Again, it's still kind of broad, not the best looking velocity couplet, but certainly capable of producing. And when you're in a situation like this, in which you have tornadoes that could spin up and down very quickly, you want to, better safe than sorry on these situations, because they could, spin up and down very quickly. Going back north to the Currituck County storm, this one is about ready to cross into Virginia, so we're going to go ahead and let this guy go. The tornado warning is going to continue for Camden and Currituck counties until Wakefield reboxes it, which I'm pretty sure that they will end up doing at some point. So we probably see a cancellation there. The old tornado warning for Windfall and Hertford, at this point, you guys are good. This has been more narrowly refocused, again, splitting that Perkins and Pasquotank County line all the way up towards 158. Looks like that's the path that it's going to follow between Sunbury and South Mills. Let's see if we can't get any more specifics here on this. So this is going to be near Morgan's Corner around 12:30. So that's in about 6 minutes, and Sunbury and Cora Peak around 12:45. So again, that's your ETA from the Weather Service on this. So if you're in any of those locations, just interior room, lowest floor, storm cellar, not really a storm cellar, I suppose, a bathroom closet. It's getting late. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Bring helmets, wear shoes just in case, and ride it out. And when you get the all clear, we'll be happy to pass that along and let you get on with your evening. But for now, 4 tornado warnings on the board as we take a little bit of a wider view from the Wakefield radar. It's a busy night for this stuff. That's for sure. And meanwhile, near the eye, Wilmington is in that the right side of that eye wall now, as well, guys.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Dan Whittaker is available to check in with us as that eye wall just to the west side of Wilmington. Things will actually look calmer there, Dan.
Yeah, so still just holding out here with the last bit of power. What screen are you seeing here? Are you seeing out of my windshield, or are you seeing it looking directly at me?
We're looking forward out your windshield.
Out. Okay, great. So basically the gusts keep on going here, but this last part does remain to have power. I will be kind of surveying the area here soon to see what else is going on around town. But, this is just to kind of show you a little bit about, if I can get this to turn around. There you go. A little bit of my setup here. Here I am doing a little bit of editing of some video, and I'm kind of just stationed here for the moment, just seeing how things continue to play out. Chances are I'll probably stay with the hurricane and drive kind of along with it a little bit as it continues to move northeast. For now, it's surprising that the flooding isn't as bad as in some of the other hurricanes I've seen, at least here in this portion of Wilmington near downtown. So really, wind being the biggest threat that I've noticed so far.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, Dan. We're going to pop a screen up now. We'll get back to the tornado warnings in just a second. This is a look right here. Let me make this bigger for you at home. Can see this a little bit bigger. The power outages right now across North Carolina. So as we make our way towards Wilmington, towards where we had landfall, you can see New Hanover County, nearly 4,000 power outages. Brunswick County, another 35,000. We have 9,000 in Pender County. They do drop off a little bit, 2,000 or 3,000 as we make our way a little bit further inland. Sampson County, 3,100 people without power right now. Columbus, 2,200, and then we're also Onslow at about 810. That seems to be where things are reporting right now. We don't have numbers on this map from South Carolina. I'll try to look for that in a moment. We have 2,000 people near Greensboro and Alamance County without power due to some reason. And we'll wait to see how this map updates as we move on through the overnight hours. But nearly 85,000 people right now in North Carolina without power, or I guess to be more articulate, the power companies are reporting a total of 85,000 power outages. How many people or how many accounts that is per se, I couldn't tell you, but we can still see nonetheless where the bullseye is for these power outages. They're right where we expect them to be. And unfortunately, over the next few hours, I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of shifts north along that I-95 corridor as the winds from the storm continue to move north with the center of circulation, guys.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, James, I have not heard back from Ethan yet. So one other thing, I've got on our Twitter Carolina Weather Group. Maybe we can pop that up. Almost record storms are flooding in the Cherry Grove area. Our friend Brad Panovich tweeting out a graph of the Intercoastal Waterway, and it's showing that it is near record flood levels, significant flooding in the Cherry Grove area. Most of it coming out of the Little River, forcing into the inlet. But again, right now it's 9.25 feet. The record is 9.3, so very close to being record flooding there in Cherry Grove. And as we talked to Chris Jackson earlier, a lot of flooding and storm surge there in Horry County. That may be the lasting effect from the hurricane, where the winds and the tornadoes may be the lasting effect further in the coast. But also, pretty couple large flash flood warnings that's been issued for the Raleigh area. We haven't really been able to hit on that yet, but there was several flash flood warnings in and around the Raleigh-Durham metropolitan area that continue for the next few hours as well. So the tornado warnings, all of those except one continue, have been expired. The only one in North Carolina is going to be for portions of Camden and Gates County, and this is going to go until 12:45, so another 15 minutes. Let me get that pulled up here on radar. It's going to take it just a second here. My computer as well screaming at me because it's like I need a break. But anyway, let's share the screen here and kind of show you where this tornado is located, or the tornado warning has been located. We'll turn on the velocities here. And this is the cell that we're watching just on south of South Mills and Sunbury. So here's the rotation. These storms moving off to the northwest as these outer bands continue to move in. So again, mostly over farmland, but if you are traveling on Highway 158 between South Mills and Sunbury, this is where the rotation is going to come over. We'll go down to the correlation coefficient. Not really seeing any lowering here, but again, we are a little ways away from the radar site, so that's not always the best tool to use when you're this far out. But again, this tornado warning continues for another 15 minutes. This is for portions of Gates County, as well as Currituck County and Camden County, as well as Passaquinte County here in northeastern North Carolina. Again, Sunbury, you need to be in your safe place. South Mills, I think you're going to be okay as this cell moves to the northwest. You're just east, or you're east of this cell, so you're technically in the polygon, but more towards Sunbury you want to be in your safe place as the cell continues to move off. But that's the only tornado warning. The other warning for Currituck County, that has since moved into Virginia. So whenever they restructure this warning, that should cut out that portion of North Carolina. So again, we're just watching this one tornado cell. Looks like, James, you have the eye of, I was seeing the screen there. I had the eye on my radar scope of I can share that screen for you here in just a second. Maybe. Let's try that again. There we go. We'll show the radar scope here. You can see the eye of Isaias continuing to move through, and this is the area that we're going to be watching as it kind of filters back into Wilmington. So Dan, I'm sure you are seeing this on radar, but the back side of the eye wall getting ready to push through Wilmington. So things probably going to be picking up here in intensity over the next few minutes as the back side of the eye wall moves into the Wilmington area.
Yep, that is going to be kind of the next piece of the puzzle here. And in my experience, similar hurricanes, I mean, I'd say similar, I would say Hurricane Florence had a similar landfall, you know, as far as proximity over Wilmington. And a lot of the wind damage we saw from that was on the back side of the hurricane, from that particular hurricane. So, you know, I've been here through other storms where the backside of the hurricane and those winds has been the worst part of the storm. So we'll see what we get here soon. But I expect we'll probably see a lot more gusty wind at the very least.
Definitely so, and probably some more heavier rainfall as well. Looking at your camera right now, I'm not going to say it looks calm, but it doesn't look to be as fierce as we've seen earlier in the evening. So, James, again, the hurricane moving through, again, Lumberton seeing some heavy rain back towards Wyattville, and then it kind of circles back around into the Wilmington area. As the eye continues to quickly push off to the northeast here in southeastern North Carolina. Looking through some of our social media accounts here on Twitter, again, the flooding there in Cherry Grove kind of stands out. Looking at, we haven't really got any more reports of the fire that we first reported about probably about an hour ago now in Ocean Isle. Haven't seen anything yet from that. So looking at this tornado warning for portions of Gates County, the rotation has since weakened, but we'll continue to watch that as it is now pushing over Highway 158. Eventually will come up to State Road 32 before it crosses into the Virginia state line. So again, once that cell moves out, we won't have any active tornado warnings. A few special marine statements out there, but we just have that one tornado warning, and that is basically right now moving across the Virginia state line. So James, that tornado warning probably will be allowed to expire or canceled early over the next couple minutes.
Watching tweets from our friend Chris Jackson, who is now driven through the eye wall for a third time tonight. They are on their way to Oak Island. And we talked to him earlier when they were in Cherry Grove. Brett Adair tweeting, third largest storm surge ever for the area north of North Myrtle. Only Matthew and Hugo were larger. Isaias now, this tweet from earlier when they were referencing Oak Island. Either way, they're heading into Oak Island now to do post-storm assessment to see what it is that they find there, Scotty.
Yeah, and I think when the sun comes up tomorrow, the Ocean Isle, Oak Island, Bald Head Island area, we'll definitely see some pictures out of that area. And, it's a pretty popular vacation destination, so hopefully the folks who may not be used to hurricanes, hopefully they were able to prepare and ride out the storm. Also be interested to see what it looks like in Horry County, maybe not wind wise, but storm surge. It seems like there's been a lot of storm surge issues, flooding, probably some beach erosion there. We're still, another month and a half of vacation season. So, that's a big draw to Myrtle Beach, even during the COVID times right now, is come to the beach. So maybe some beach servicing projects going to have to be going on during vacation season with some of that storm surge and some erosion.
Scotty, I do want to show, we have some new video from Ocean Island Beach of that fire. This comes in via Snapchat, so I'm always hesitant to play it all too long because you never know what's going to come up next. But 34 minutes ago, this snap from Ocean Island Beach, last we heard was 5 houses on a fire. The snap reads, looks like it could be spreading. And you can see there, kind of like Ethan described, just kind of like a glowing ember off in the distance there. So a fire, an active fire on Ocean Island Beach in North Carolina, the same place where Isaias came ashore earlier today as a Category 1 hurricane, earlier last night, really, at this point, as we've now crossed over. And there goes Snapchat going to do its thing. But we did get some new social media content in of that fire. Then, as you mentioned, that'll be something that in the daylight we'll be able to get a better sense of the magnitude of that.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about it, these firefighters out fighting this fire with 50, 60 mile per hour wind gust and still heavy rain falling and just not an ideal situation by any means.
I mean, let's take a moment to just talk about our first responders, right? Let's not forget that we're still in the midst of a pandemic, and these are people that have had to step up, healthcare workers who have been, wearing extensive personal protective equipment, risking their lives and their health day in and day out, found themselves in this even more complicated situation today. Right at the beginning of our coverage tonight, as you and Frank were drawing that polygon, talking about how one of the landmarks inside the tornado polygon was a coronavirus testing site.
Yeah, I wish, hindsight 20, I wish I would have screenshotted that, because that's something, maybe this year we'll see again, but that's something that you normally don't see in a bulletin from the National Weather Service saying, hey, this testing site, you need to heed the officials' words and go seek shelter. I mean, just crazy times.
I mean, not to call you out by any means, but there was a certain hesitation and confusion when you read it, because you're like, what?
Yeah,
it's that unnormal.
Yeah. I mean, first it said NHC testing site, and I was like, I automatically think National Hurricane Center. I was like, the testing site, and then then you kind of think about it. You're like, well, this could be something else, and so just we've talked about it. In fact, we're going to be recording a show Wednesday night with South Carolina Emergency Management folks about, we were wanting to get some content for what we thought was going to be the upcoming active season, but Isaias is kind of outrunning our coverage here. But that'll be a question that we ask the emergency management, just exactly the preparations that the state of South Carolina is taking. South Carolina, one of the hot spots, as is North Carolina, highlighted from the White House documents that showed that both Carolinas still hot spots. And now, we're facing down potential hurricanes. Or we are facing down hurricanes now. That,
and mind you, we're not even to the peak of hurricane season yet, folks.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it looks like the next couple of weeks may be kind of a catch your breath time, and then things, at least model wise, look to fire back up towards the end of August into the peak of hurricane season in September. So.
Scotty, I'm looking at some heartbreaking photos in now from Horry County, South Carolina. Fire rescue made their way over to Ocean Island Beach, North Carolina, to assist with what we can only imagine is a difficult and extensive fire. You can see not only the flames shooting out of what appears to be some sort of residence, but take a look at the bottom of the screen as well, too. They are having to fight this fire while wading through whatever the storm surge is there, because this is exactly where the hurricane came ashore earlier tonight. This is extensive damage. These are some of the first close-up shots that we are seeing in this early morning hour of this fire on Ocean Island Beach in North Carolina. We had seen already some of the shots from afar that showed the glowing fire off in the distance, leaving only the imagination to paint the picture. And now we're getting some of these first ground shots, and I think what my imagination had feared seems to be the reality for so many folks tonight on Ocean Island Beach, North Carolina. So our hearts and prayers go out to everyone who resided in this community, but also, again, coming off our last note, Scotty, hats off endlessly to the fire crews who are out there right now battling this extensive fire in the middle of hurricane damage, in the middle of a health pandemic.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I mean, it's dangerous, coronavirus-wise. It's dangerous to be fighting a fire with 60-mile-per-hour winds going on. You don't know when the next tree could come down or the next power pole or power line. So, just that the first responders, that is what their call of duty is to go out to protect and preserve, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to preserve and protect people's homes as much as they can, and make sure that the folks who may be affected by this are safe. So.
Horry County themselves earlier this evening retweeted a post that we hadn't yet read, but stuck with me. And I'm going to read it now, and then I'll explain why this is really coming to mind. We urge you to take precautions immediately if water enters your home. If you can safely do so without standing in water, turn off the main electrical breaker in the panel box to avoid a potential fire. That's not to say that that's what happened here. But what stood out to me in this tweet was, obviously, do not touch your electric breaker if you're standing in water, because water conducts electricity, and they were afraid that people might get electrocuted in their homes. These firefighters are now battling what is clearly a multi-alarm fire while standing in floodwaters. And this is a situation where it is more than likely there are down power lines, down utility lines, and that's what makes this all the more complicated.
Yeah, it's definitely a sad situation, and like you said, our hearts and thoughts and prayers with those folks, and hopefully everyone was able to get out safely, and there's not more to this. Like you said, definitely when daylight comes tomorrow, we'll see the widespread devastation that this fire is probably caused. And if you've ever vacationed on the Carolina coastline, it's a popular destination. Any beach town really is, but these homes are packed almost on top of each other. And so if one house catches fire and you got 50, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, it doesn't take much for that wind to carry embers to the next house, and then the next house, and then the next house. And before you know it, 3, 4, 5 homes are on fire. And it's so overwhelming that most of these fire departments, James, these are smaller cities. We have a lot of people in the summertime, but during regular times, these are small populated towns, and most of these fire departments are probably volunteer based. And so they don't have all the equipment that the bigger cities would have, and they don't have all the manpower. Ocean Isle to Myrtle Beach or Horry County, that's a good 30, 45-minute drive there. So,
I was just reading between the lines on manpower, and I'm only speculating, but Horry County, a place that was real close to the eye of this storm, just offshore, which we saw earlier had storm surge problems. If they have crews available to go help their neighbors, then I can only take some hope in thinking that things in Horry County tonight are not that bad, because they're able to step up and move from their community to another community in need.
Yes, yeah, that's a good observation, and I hope we haven't really heard a lot of wind reports. We have heard storm surge, flooding, so hopefully it's not been too bad down that way. But that southeast coast of North Carolina really got the brunt of this. That's where landfall obviously was. So It all began with that tornado that occurred in Bald Head Island. We have got confirmation there is damage on the island. Chris Jackson earlier, reporting that he had heard several homes and structures were affected by that. That's kind of kick-started everything around, I think it was around 7:45 this afternoon. And since then, it's just been, everything's been going crazy. So,
well, speaking of,
there's a new tornado warning.
Yes. We're going to go ahead and pivot right on over now to a new tornado warning in eastern North Carolina. This is to the east of the Greenville metropolitan area. Maybe Scotty can go ahead and get us a graphic up. I'm sure it's still drawing out the polygon. That's going to be for Beaufort, Martin, and Washington counties in North Carolina. It's going to go into 1:15 this morning. Here at 12:45, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Terra Sierra. Maybe I've got that right. 14 miles northeast of River Road, moving north at an impressive yet still 50 miles an hour. What are you seeing there on radar, Scotty?
Yeah, so here it looks like to be the circulation. This is going to be between Pinetown, Pike Road, Pentago, Belhaven. I know Belhaven. Pentago, I believe, is how you pronounce that. Again, this is going to be moving north. This is kind of this is what we kind of out of the ranging with the radar. So we're kind of getting away from the radar site there. But again, this is north of Bath, outside of Washington, outside of Greenville. So this rotation looks to be broad. We'll go to the correlation coefficient and see if we can see anything. I don't really see anything that little spike there. That's just normally that's radar probably binging off some of the bigger raindrops embedded in this cell. So nothing too alarming here with correlation coefficient. So that's good. But again, we'll go back to the velocities. You can kind of see. Here's what it looks like with the velocities, the wind sector, and there's our rotation. So a little bit broad, a little bit more tighter now, just outside of Pinetown. So we'll continue to watch that. But again, that's going to be moving off to the north-northwest. I think you said, James, around, 50 miles per hour. So it's going to be quickly moving. So if you find yourself in this polygon, if you live in Jamesville, you need to be in your storm shelter. A lot of this area is rural county, but portions of Washington and Martin County, as well as Beaufort County, under this tornado warning. And again, the rotation right now looks to be centered over, I've got some roads pointed out here. Highway 32 north is one of the main roads there. Old 97 Road up into the, not a lot of roads out here. A lot of farmland roads that are not really named. So we have State Road 1508, Long Ridge Road in this rotation as well. So hearing some more beeps going off in my ear. So
yeah, I can let you know that for our neighbors in Virginia, you have a tornado warning just across the border from North Carolina for the city of Chesapeake, the city of Norfolk, the city of Portsmouth, the city of Virginia Beach. That tornado warning goes until 1:15. So tune to Virginia-based media for updates on that. That has just crossed over from North Carolina into Virginia. The other sound you heard were some relative good news where we have the tornado watch beginning to be dropped for areas in the southern portion of what we've been talking about tonight. So the tornado threat is now over Cape Fear, North Carolina, to the Little River Inlet in South Carolina, as well as areas like Brunswick and Columbus and New Hanover and Pender County. The tornado watch is being dropped essentially behind the eye, because the tornado threat, remember folks, is in that top right, the northeast quadrant of the circulation. And so as the eye is now moving north of Wilmington, back behind it, they're able to drop some of this tornado watch. So that's some relative good news. Not good news, certainly, for the folks along the I-95 corridor, because this threat is coming towards them. But the only way to get through into the end of this tunnel is by going down this path. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a good sign of things are starting to get better, at least for those locations that the watch is being dropped. Again, here's the rotation. This is about to move into the Washington and Martin County areas. Again, it's broad. We'll go to the correlation coefficient, see if we can get anything. There's a little bit of a lowering there, so we'll continue to watch that. It's fairly broad, but we'll watch this area right here. It's kind of spiky. We see these spikes, so that's why I'm a little hesitant to say there's something on the ground just because of the noise that's around here. But we'll continue to watch that. Again, this is going to be moving into the corner of Washington County. This is heading towards Jamesville, Plymouth, over towards Williamston, all in this polygon as it moves into this area. Again, this is just outside of Greenville, East Carolina University, Washington, the city of Washington in this area. A way that you get out to the Outer Banks. This is a Highway 64. I think they call it the Alligator River, I believe, runs along this. So if you go out to the Outer Banks, you'll definitely be passing through this area. But again, the rotation moving into Martin and Washington County. And I don't want to say it's not on the ground, but it's got an interesting look to it. So we'll continue to monitor this. Again, where the three counties come together, that's where this rotation is right now. So Jamesville.
Frank made an excellent point hours earlier, and I'll reiterate it in his absence now, is that folks remember radar is a snapshot of the atmosphere from a minute or two ago.
Right.
And this tornadic tropical setup, these things drop and pick up, and it could be a minute or two before we even see it. If we even see it on radar, it could happen in that gap in between updates. It's like watching radar is like watching a movie, but you're only allowed to open your eyes like once a minute.
Yeah, it's a delay, and you know there's actually no real live radar. That information that we see is always delayed, a minute up to 10 minutes at times. So that's something that if you didn't know that, maybe you learned something new tonight. So here's the circulation moving now into Washington County. Again, if you live in this area, most of it rural areas, but State Highway 101, Hollis Road in this area, as well as Clark Road up towards Angetown Road, I believe is how you pronounce it, and up into the State Road Highway 1555. And the rotation really has got broad now. It's kind of, if there was something there, it's starting to weaken as this continues to move off to the north, James. So we'll keep our eye on that. There is this area of location. This is near Ocracoke, up towards sea level. This is on the Outer Banks. This is a special marine statement, special marine warning for a potential water spout and wind gusts near 50 knots. This would be moving up into the Ocracoke Inlet into the Cape Lookout area as well. So we'll continue to watch that. A little bit of rotation there as well as it continues to move off to the north. So those two locations are what we are watching. Tornadic-wise, again, I will say we do have these flash flood warnings along Interstate 95, which last night, if you tuned in to watch, we kind of highlighted this area for the potential for some heavy rainfall and flash flooding. So we've got several flash flood warnings in this area, and in fact, one of them actually includes the Raleigh metro area. So we will continue to watch that. We're gonna have to watch this little guy right here in Bath. Starting to see some rotation there as well in Beaufort County. We'll watch that here over the next few minutes. Wouldn't be surprised to see that could tighten up a little bit. So we could continue to see that as we approach the 1 o'clock time frame. We do have these tornado warnings, but James, overall, these are quick spin ups, and at least the landfall has happened, and we're not really getting a lot of reports of, we still getting damage and stuff. So that might be a good sign too.
Yeah, Scotty, I want to make sure we mention this. I know as we're drawing towards the 1 o'clock hour, there's a lot on our mind as we're continuing to assess the damage and the aftermath of this storm, but also see what the overnight ahead still withholds. So this is a look right now. We have tropical storm warnings all across eastern North Carolina. The hurricane warnings are actually still in effect in places like Wilmington because the eye is just to the north of you. But take a look. They're a little covered up here. We have flash flood warnings in the dark red that stretch from the Raleigh area down south towards Fayetteville and even back towards Wilmington because of the amount of torrential rain that this storm is continuing to drop. And so we want to let you know we're focusing a lot on the hurricane. We're focusing a lot on the tornadoes. There is still a flood threat with this storm, and it's not just along the coast. It's folks inland along waterways. It's folks inland in poor drainage areas. It's folks inland in urban poor drainage areas, and that's why weather radio, wake you up in the middle of the night to let you know that there's potentially water rising outside your house. Do we have a new tornado warning?
It's kind of new. It's they've
it's been
filtered out
redrawn.
Yeah, it's just been redrawn, filtering out some areas. The circulation, let me pop this back up on screen here and let you guys see this redrawn polygon. Kind of covering the same areas. It's cut out a few areas, added a few little towns. So here's the old warning polygons back here. So here's the new polygon. And in fact, this rotation that is we're picking up right here is about to outrun the new polygon. So we're also watching this one back here towards Bath. It's a little bit more broadly rotating. So we have two rotating storms in this warning, but the one up here is about to outrun the warning near Jamesville. The second rotation we're watching is back here towards Bath. So again, same counties. It's just been redrawn to cut out a few areas. Again, these storms are moving to the northwest at 60 miles per hour. That's you don't really have time to prepare. So if you do find yourself in this polygon, it's best to go ahead and seek shelter in the lowest level, just because you don't have a lot of time to prepare for these tornado warned cells as they move to the northwest at 60 miles an hour. James, those are fast-paced storms, and there's not a lot you can do to prepare for that if you don't act as soon as that warning is issued.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we want to give you as much lead time as possible, and it's hard to do that when you're asleep. So you need something that's going to say, hey, wake up, we've got a problem.
Yes, that's important to have the weather radio, the WEA alert on your phone. Make sure some people like to silence their phone, but on nights like this, you may want to keep it on, and that way you can get alerted by those EAS alerts that are being sent out. And it's a good idea to have them on nights like this because they'll ping for tornado warnings, flash flood warnings. I believe even storm surge warnings. I believe our friend Chris Jackson, he kind of screen shared it a couple of days yesterday, showed the WEA alert for the storm surge. So they're even sending those alerts out. Again, looking at the radar here, this rotation to the south of Pinetown is really broad. It's not really tightened up. So we have this new cell, or this cell that originally created the cause of the warning near Jamestown. I'm sorry, I've been saying Jamestown. It's Jamesville. Jamesville and Plymouth. That's the rotation that continues to move into this area. Again, James, these areas sparsely populated, but again, if you live in this area along Highway 64, you want to be in your storm shelter away. And these are going to be quick forming. If they do produce a tornado, it could only last for a couple seconds and it's already done. That's how these tropical tornadoes work. It's not these long track tornadoes that we see a lot in the springtime out in the Midwest, or even like we experienced earlier this year in our area.
Hats off to the folks at the National Weather Service who are, analyzing that radar in real time, making the difficult decisions on whether or not they're going to pull the trigger and activate that warning, which again, sounds sirens, wakes people up. People do frankly get agitated if it's a false alarm. So the Weather Service knows that, there's a lot riding on them, and we appreciate all that they do under that immense pressure to keep us all safe 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and we were talking about the first responders, that the Weather Service, they have to gear up for this. COVID protocols, the offices, we've had some meteorologists that have been doing a lot of stuff from home. with these scenarios, I would imagine maybe we can get one of our weather service friends on to talk about this later on, but how they prepared for this with bringing people back into the office and how you can adequately socially distance. And you would imagine that you'd want your team together on these big events to help get through the situation. So, these weather service officials as well doing a great job handling this situation. So again,
a lot
we
of territory.
We have that tornado warning, and then we have a host of flash flood warnings out over the Interstate 95 corridor. I believe, James, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're starting to see some of those flash flood watches being canceled as well near the Wilmington, Myrtle Beach area. I think I saw that pop up in our Slack messages there on the side. So that's some good news as well. Yeah.
A lot of yes, that is correct. So the flash flood watch is being dropped back behind the bulk of the action. So places that are no longer under a flash flood watch as of 1 a.m. now: Darlington, Florence, Marion, northern Horry County, Williamsburg. Those places are all being dropped from the flash flood watch. Places with the flash flood watch does still continue: coastal Brunswick, coastal New Hanover, coastal Pender, Columbus, inland Brunswick, New Hanover again for the inland areas. And you can kind of see how they have to break those up to discern those and to draw those polygons. So again, this is moving north. So it's good news for the folks along the coast, whether they're trying to get some sleep or trying to clean up. It's bad news for folks in eastern North Carolina, because from Raleigh, where we have flash flood warnings, to just outside of Greenville, where we have a tornado warning, there's still a long night ahead.
Yes, very long night, and that'll continue as something we haven't really talked about because it's not really our area. But these tropical storm warnings go up for some big places. Washington D.C., I think, is under a tropical storm warning. New York City, the New Jersey coast. So this is going to be a long, stretching storm.
Well,
a lot
I've
of
got it up
populated
on the screen.
areas. Yeah,
I've got it up on the screen right now for our viewers. So we have the hurricane warnings from the North Carolina, South Carolina border region. Then the tropical storm warnings pick up as you make your way towards Atlantic Beach out along the outer banks of North Carolina. Then that blue line, which is the tropical storm warning, continues all the way through the Mid-Atlantic, all the way through New York City, all the way along my home of Long Island, all the way past Boston. I mean, Scotty, it goes to Canada.
I was going to say Maine and Canada. Wow.
It goes all the way to the border in Canada. And you can see that by the time this thing reaches New York City, the I circulation over the lower Hudson Valley, 8 p.m. Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a part 2 to the story. And mind you, and the name of the storm is Irene.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Irene that came ashore? We talk a lot about Sandy, but there was one storm that came ashore and went into like New Hampshire and Vermont, and it caused flooding and mudslides. That was Irene, right?
I believe you're right. Yes, I believe you are correct. Yes. And that's a story. New York City, just pointing that out, Long Island is on that northeast side, that quadrant of the worst part of the wind and the rain and the storm. So that's going to be a story in itself. Tomorrow, when it hits these big metropolitan areas, national media latches onto it a little bit more as it affects more people. So definitely we'll be seeing a lot of reports out of that area.
On your screen right now is the Storm Prediction Center outlook for tomorrow, and you can see that the slight risk extends all the way from the Virginia border with us here in North Carolina, all the way up to include New York City. Slight risk being 2 out of 5 on the National Weather Service's tier here in the Storm Prediction Center outlook. And so this would include, if I were to kind of spitball it here a little, right? You've got Norfolk, you've got, let's say Philadelphia, you got New York City. It looks like Baltimore and DC are just far enough inland, but there is a margin of error with these things. You have Hartford, Connecticut. You have all of Long Island. And so, this threat continues all the way up to just outside of Boston, where it does transition over to that marginal. But again, it's a margin of error for sure. And so if I, oops, our graphics are not built to show you the Northeast with a single click, but if I take it and I slide it, here's the tornado threat. So about 5% chance up and down the eastern seaboard there tomorrow, but it's going to be very much like it is right now, where these things are just kind of sporadic and popping up.
Yeah, so the story will be, the recovery cleanup and recovery efforts here in the Carolinas, and the story will be the continuing storm effects in the Northeast as this storm continues. And James is going to be caught up in a cold front that's moving through the area, and that's going to really help keep the wind field elevated. Normally when we see these landfalling systems, they start to cycle down, spin down, and we don't see that wind element. But with it getting caught up with the trough, it's going to keep that wind element to it. So we'll definitely see that story continue through tomorrow. And I think that the track had it even going into Wednesday, near Maine and Canada. So definitely it's going to be a storm that affects a large portion of the area here. So I believe we just got that one tornado warning expired. Yes. And there's the other one expired. So no more tornado
Two
warnings.
overlapping ones. Yes, thank you. We have no tornado warnings right now at 107 here in North Carolina. Scotty mentioned Wednesday night we'll still be following the storm as it makes its way towards Canada. We will be live for our weekly show. Those kick off at 9 o'clock Eastern time. You can find them streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. We also have an audio podcast that we put out each weekly episode. We put out special updates, and we put out the emergency briefings that emergency officials hold. So we know, for instance, tomorrow, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper will be holding a briefing. I speculated about 3 o'clock or so. You'll find that streaming live on our platforms. But if you happen to find yourself without power or with limited internet, you're working just off of whatever you've got there on your phone, you can always find Carolina Weather Group on your Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever it is you listen to your podcast. Scotty, the WC-130 Hurricane aircraft that was providing us all of that crucial information tonight has returned to base after
good sign.
It's good.
I don't know if you saw the video. It was a couple of days ago of just the turbulence in there. And, it's not like a plane ride from here to New York City where it's a couple hours and that's it. A lot of these hurricane hunters are flying multiple times through the storm, and that turbulence after 6, 7, 8 hours, I don't think I could do that. I don't think my stomach could handle all that. So I know those guys are glad to be back home, and gals are glad to be back home on stable, steady grounds.
We are happy that they are as well, too. Before we leave you tonight, new pictures in from the city of New Bern, North Carolina, where you can see here near Union Point Park in downtown, swollen river and rain have partially flooded the park near the gazebo. Take a look and make this picture a little bit bigger here. You can see that that police vehicle and some standing water there. We also looking here at the overwash at Union Point Park, thanks to the police department. You can see the waves washing on shore there. This is in New Bern, where we not only will have the effect of that storm surge up along the sound there, about 2 to 5 feet or so, but they did have a, there it is, from WCTI, that tornado warning a little bit earlier. So again, a very complex evening. We do have a new tornado warning we'll let you know about here. This is in Bertie, North Carolina, goes into 145. This is pretty much just in that same area we were just talking about. This is to the north and east of Greenville and to the east of Rocky Mount, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located 7 miles west of Plymouth, moving north at 45 miles an hour. Scotty, I think we're going to let folks know here at about 1:10 that, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to begin to wind down and sign off our coverage here of the Carolina Weather Group's coverage of the landfall of this storm.
Yes.
What we're going to do overnight is we're going to leave streaming for you a variety of cameras, NOAA Weather Radio, as best as that network is being able to be fed to us remotely. They're going to do a great job, I know, of keeping it online for folks who are listening on their analog radios. We're going to try to capture that here halfway across the state. And so you can continue to kind of monitor that. But we do advise you, as you've been so great in trusting us all night long to bring you the latest, that we want to let you know that that will kind of be unmanned here for the next few hours. So when it comes to street level information to keep you and your family safe, we do defer you to local media, your NOAA Weather Radio, to wake you up in the middle of the night. Scotty, you've been on since about 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight when the first tornado warnings went off with those outer bands coming ashore. I figured I'd give you a chance here for some closing thoughts.
Yeah, I think I need to go hit the Waffle House up now. I'm getting a little hungry, but and no, in all seriousness, we want to think about our neighbors and friends down there at the coast. I know it's COVID season, and one thing about us as a country and as Carolinians, we want to help our neighbor out. I encourage you to still do that. Just do it safely. Make sure you're wearing a mask. Take those proper precautions. If your neighbor needs help, make sure you can do it in a safe way. But it's always good to help your neighbor out when you can. And I hope that hopefully that when the sun rises tomorrow, we won't see as much damage as we fear may be there on the southeast coast of North Carolina. But as always, it's been an honor and pleasure to bring you guys some weather coverage, and we hope you have enjoyed it. And James, I'll let you close us out, but I feel like this won't be the last time we cover a hurricane this year.
Hurricane season won't peak until about the mid of September, and you can count on the Carolina Weather Group for updates for you throughout the hurricane season. We're back each Wednesday night with a new episode of our appropriately named Carolina Weather Group podcast, where we talk about newsmakers, weather, science, technology, and more. Not only about the Carolinas, but from the Carolinas. So if you're watching tonight from afar to find out what was happening here in the Carolinas, we hope you will subscribe and rejoin us again each Wednesday night. And of course, as you can see, we're back with live coverage as situations warrant. A quick technical note for you. We're going to stop this stream and start a new one. So if you want to join us for our overnight sky cams and radar, all of that, that will be coming down our feed momentarily, and you can look for that alert. So on behalf of everyone here at the Carolina Weather Group, I'm James Brierton in Charlotte. Thank you for watching us. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you again real soon from the Carolina Weather Group. Good night.